the I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.
Vinnie Corrales.
Travis.
Yeah, welcome back.
Right?
Travis Wright.
Yeah, Travis Wright.
First of all, this will be your last interview in this version of the studio.
We're burning it down.
That's right, man. I've loved this spot, but I wanna record more comedy. I want to release more comedy, and this is expensive, and I want to use that money to do comedy productions instead. So
Yeah, well, that's a good trade-off.
do you remember the original setup down in Deep Ellum?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to do something similar to that here in this building. They have like some conference rooms.
Okay.
But it's been a long time since I've like set it up and broke it down for every interview.
Yeah.
So I may hate it and come back to a room.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, we're going to enjoy this while we can.
Okay, yeah.
But
That's-
so you've seen all versions of this podcast. I forgot about that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, this is maybe my third time or so, maybe.
Yeah. The last time was a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
But big things since then, man. In my opinion, I don't know how we would ever prove it, but the #1 independent comedy show right now, Cowabunga.
You think so?
I think so, man. I think there's a little magic in that building. Just the way you guys started it, the way you kind of curate your performers, and then the way that you seem to be very symbiotic with that community and the crowd the crowd has come to trust what you're bringing to them. And it feels like you have a community rather than just customers.
That's exact. Hey, wow. What a great summation of what we're trying to achieve.
All right, we're done here. I'll see you later.
I think so. That was it. No, that's the operative word is community right there. It's really because the shows are free.
Yeah.
And then we do other things too, like for like our November one, we did like a canned food drive and like raise money for like Minnie's food pantry, and that's probably going to be like an annual thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we take donations with like the guys we play basketball with for like a Christmas thing for the Boys and Girls Club that we play at.
So because that's the building where the court is, right? That's the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, like the little outdoor court there that they have. So.
Yeah, I think that's why it's feeling that way, though. It's not like, okay, we've got to put on a show and make a bunch of money and blah, 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 blah.
No, we make no money from the show.
All the stresses of running a club, But still, even free shows, like there are show producers that put on free shows other places.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have that feel, man. What do you, if you had to guess what makes it feel that way, what do you think it is?
Well, I don't think there's any one thing. I think it's there's a couple of variables at play, and number one, the room is so nice, like itself, like it's just like nice that they've got like an elevated stage area. They got like a great ambiance with like the lights that they let us like change, and we like can create a vibe like just aesthetically like before the show even starts. They're cool with us like standing on the tables and setting up our lights and turning the TVs off, and they have no, and that's like kind of like risky because a lot of like bar shows sometimes they know like people aren't there for comedy, they want to watch the Stars playoff game instead. So like it's very cool of them that they understand like no, there's a lot of people in this room that are here for this, and they are counting on this month. This is like. Yeah. The best like night of their month for some of these people. Like, a lot of these people, they come back every month, man. And it's like, why we have to get new comics every time,
Especially in these times, like everything's expensive. It feels like your dollar is harder to stretch. So a free show is nice, but a good free show is even better, and especially something that's in that neighborhood where there's a lot of people. I'm sure they can kind of walk down from those apartments and come check it out. So,
yeah,
you're talking about, like turning the TVs off and all that. When I was at the show with Byron Stamps, Nick Hawk, who else was on that one? Do you remember?
I think Marissa
Nieto, yeah. And anyway, through that show, some people came in just to enjoy the bar, right? No idea comedy was going on, and they're coming up to the bar. And they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing what you would do in a bar, which is like you're talking, you're chatting, you're ordering a drink, you're standing up by the bar doing your thing. But it's louder than everyone else that evening because everyone else is locked in on the comedy show. And, you're thinking like, okay, it's a bar. They're going to talk. They're going to be loud. That's what it is. But there was a couple people in the audience who were like very polite. They're just like, hey, we're actually all here to watch the show.
Yeah.
You know, and they were policing it, but
Yeah,
not in a
yeah,
jerk
yeah.
way either. And then the couple was just like, oh, sorry, we'll do Miller Lite or whatever.
And
you
I'm
know?
so glad that they do, because I'm not that. I would
Well, why
come
would
off
you?
very like jerkish.
Yeah.
I would be like, hey, you see how everybody's here like
Yeah.
to pay attention to this? Why don't you like shut the fuck up?
Yeah, and because I was just out of the side of my ear. I'm waiting to see how it's going to go. Like, I wonder if the bartender's going to say something, because it is very much like, if you're an outsider, you'd be like, "What? It's a bar."
Yeah, for sure.
And when they did confront them, I was waiting to see, like, oh boy, like we're about to have a moment of people talking back and forth, and this disrupts it even more. And they just very politely got their drinks and hung out, and we're like, oh, cool, you know. And then afterwards, you heard them talking to the people that confronted them about, like, so is this like a one-off? And then they kind of explained it. No, they do it here, you know.
Oh,
So it is interesting that the bar crowd has been trained, like they feel like it's more of a club as when that show's happening, rather than, you know, than a bar. Like they don't want the TVs on either. So
yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is for it to feel like a club.
it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't notice until that last time I was there is I was always wondering why the comics were so still in their performances, and then I saw the stage that y'all set up back there to rise them just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize there was a platform back there, and I was like, oh, this makes sense.
pretty tiny, yeah.
Well, I mean, you're working with what you got. It doesn't take anything away. I'm just
Yeah.
overanalyzing
It just answers that question.
Yeah.
Of like, how come nobody's doing any big act outs?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
How
yeah.
many nobody's Dane cooking it?
Yeah. How many shows has it been now?
Dude, this coming one in May will be 36 at Fillmore. So 3-year anniversary. 36.
Y'all haven't had to skip a month since you've been at Fillmore, right?
No, but it's like, it's kind of a weird thing, because our very first one was the first Wednesday of June 2023.
Yeah.
Because there was like a Stars game, and it was like our very first one there coming from McNeil's. And I don't think I just don't know if they had enough faith. And we took a leap of faith too by moving it from McNeil's to like Fillmore. Like it was like kind
I
of
remember
a
that whole
risk to-
situation was a little dicey because it wasn't all like
No,
it wasn't all great.
No. It was not.
Yeah.
It was not a. I mean, we would probably still be at McNeil's today if they just like were cool.
Right.
You know, if they just showed us like any ounce of like respect. But it was just like, man, they would just do things where it was, you know, I don't want to get too much
Yeah.
into it, but it's like,
Well, on the positive side-
you know, all we're doing is making you money, and like you don't need to interfere in the show. Just make the drinks.
Yeah.
Just stay on that side of the wall and make the drink. You're not even doing that well. Just do that well, and then maybe I might have to listen to what you have to say. And they just couldn't even do that. So,
Who was the person at Fillmore that saw the vision and allowed y'all to do that?
I maybe like Steph, but at that point, like, you know, those shows at McNeil's were like overflowing in the streets.
Oh, so they already had the proof of concept.
Yeah,
when you wanted
yeah,
to take the Fillmore.
yeah. So,
You know, we were talking about
so
it
like the
earlier.
nice way of saying is like we outgrew McNeil's.
Right,
That's
right.
like the politically correct way of like
Was it
saying what happened.
is it a bigger space than, or is the Fillmore a bigger space than McNeil's?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then it was a happy accident, right?
Yeah, it worked out.
well.
It worked out well, so I'm happy it worked out.
Because you guys are already, I don't want to use the word outgrowing because it's such a nice spot, but it's full every time.
yeah.
Every time. Like
Yeah.
the last one I went to, because I'm here in Dallas, you guys usually start at 7:30. So my goal is always like, okay, I got to help my wife like get the kids down to bed and blah, blah, so I can duck out. And so that 7:30 thing, I'm always like, okay, we're going to do the bath a little early, get all this stuff wrapped up early, because I don't want to get there late and have to be standing up for the whole show. I want to be able to find one seat.
That's a real concern.
It is a real concern, which is like great for you guys.
I'm
man.
not even exaggerating. Some people, they show up at like 5:36
I believe it.
to make sure that they don't.
I believe it, and I can already tell that there's like the good seats. Like you can tell somebody showed up to get the seats they really wanted
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
early
yeah.
in the day. But with it being full like that, it's got to give you thoughts about, you know, where does it go from here? Like, is there a bigger room or a second night or something?
Yeah,
I know you're thinking. You're not going to talk about
It's
it.
definitely giving us thoughts. Well, I mean, I don't want to.
Not because Fillmore's a bad spot. It's just that things just grow. You know,
For sure.
things just grow.
For sure. And I will say right now we are very seriously considering I guess a bigger space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And still in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to keep. You built it there. It's
Yeah,
gotta
for
be there
sure, for
somewhere.
sure. But
Yep.
like we're just trying to work out like maybe like the details like financially for that.
Of course.
Right now.
I mean, it's a huge endeavor? Because I imagine anything you move to now, you got to start being concerned about like maybe we have to sell tickets or something. Maybe we have to make a little money off of it.
That is also another venture that I can see us going down for like little kind of like pop-ups or something.
If you grew into a bigger spot, could you see having like Fillmore Cowabunga be the intimate thing, maybe like a proving ground, like the thing between an open mic and whatever the bigger room is you could do later and run to, or does it just seem like too much?
Well, that seems very feasible. I mean, in a lot of ways, that's almost like what the Bebop, the open mic.
Yeah, but I'm saying
the street at Vic
adding one
kinda
more. So you got the Bebop open mic.
Yeah.
You got Cowabunga on the last Friday.
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday, sorry, at Fillmore. And then whatever the next bigger thing is going to turn into.
Yeah.
Think you could just build, or do you just start running out of time in the day to manage all that?
Well, I don't know. I think, I mean, like our shows, our Cowabunga shows right now, it's like the comics that we get are like very good anyway. You know?
I
So
know.
it would be like a very strong Venn diagram of like the same comics. But I think if we have like a bigger budget to work with too, and we'll be able to like bring in some like other people. But at that point, I think we might have to do like ticketed events and stuff.
Well, that's what I mean, because I think my hope would be that you guys, whether you're already ahead of me and thinking about this, would purposely or accidentally start having this strong pipeline of tiers of proving grounds, right? So you have the Bebop open mic in Plano, right across the street, where people who maybe don't want to drive into Dallas to do an open mic or Fort Worth or wherever, it's like, now you got a spot, right? So I'm assuming you're seeing some new faces in the scene just because of that open mic, right?
Yeah.
So, and then now they have a goal. If I'm doing good here at this open mic, then I can maybe I can get on one of these Cowabunga shows
It's
eventually.
been proven.
Right? Who is the big guy that's from the north? Big like linebacker, not big guy. Like he was on that same show with Nick Hawk. He's not a newer
Did he
comic.
do a guestie? Is it Henry Schroeder?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Funny guy, yeah.
Stuff like that where it's like, okay.
He shows up, you can tell he's not there for vacation, he's there for work. And it's like, oh yeah, we like to reward people like that,
So although you're already working with really good comics with Cowabunga, like I think you're going to stack your deck a little deeper because you're going to start developing comics through your open mic in Cowabunga, whether it's the opening slot or a guest spot.
Uh-huh.
And when you have your bigger spot, it's like, yeah, that'll be like your middle ground. And then by then you've made some killers for whatever that next step is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited. That's where my mind starts going with it.
Yeah.
Just
And
a lot of possibilities.
I guess enough time has passed where I'm like not as like hurt by this, but we actually put in a business proposal for a spot in downtown Plano. Like,
Really?
yeah. And they're turning it into something else.
They just wanted the space to be something else. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this would have been killer.
Who did you try? Not a name, but like a department. Who'd you try to facilitate that through? Is there a specific
Well,
department?
we knew the owner of that building.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
on that route.
Yeah. And they know about the shows and honestly they asked us to do it. So that's why it was all the more
Yeah, and then
frustrating. and
Chipotle
confusing.
came in with a higher lease or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Whatever. Somebody who had more money.
Yeah.
I get it, man. Yeah, it's got to be. But look, that's going to work out, right? The way McNeil's changed worked out. Something's going to happen in the future where you're going to go, oh, if we had done this at that spot, we wouldn't be able to do this. And it just it happens the way it's going to happen, But there's got to be a way, I think, you get in with the city where they can...
We've worked with the city.
You know what I mean? Talking about the cultural enrichment of the city and the value that brings.
Yeah. I think we might try to apply for a grant or something here because... I don't know. I think we do. I think we do a great job of representing, like, especially like downtown Plano is like prides itself on being like the arts district and stuff.
Well, I think
like,
you've already come up on a couple like Plano social media pages as like one of the things to do or something. I think I've seen someone
I
talk
think
about
so
that.
too. Yeah.
So it's like this is now a thing. If somebody was visiting loved ones, from out of town, it's like this might be a thing you go do. Like it's adding to it for sure.
I think so. Yeah, I think some people. I can't believe how some people discover the show. But
what are some of the strange ways you've been discovered?
Well, like I guess not strange, but like
Unexpected, maybe.
you know this comic website Bad Slava?
Nope.
Okay. I remember whenever I first started comedy, it was like I had like a master list of like open mics.
Oh, okay.
I think it started like in New York or something maybe.
Bad Slava.
Yeah.
All right.
But somebody it was like on there as an open mic and they wanted to like come watch an open mic.
Oh, okay.
And
that's weird.
And it was like, oh, that's not what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for showing out.
Yeah. Well, it probably beat their expectations then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's what we like to under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
You know, because it's still like a free show. Like even if you don't like it, you know.
I know you're familiar with Stomping Ground.
Mm-hmm.
I just talked to
Lindsay Goldap.
Yeah, I just talked to
I
her.
love her. She was my improv coach for a little bit.
By the time your episode is out, this conversation we're having, her episode will be out, but you haven't heard it yet because it hasn't been released. But you know, she was fascinating to talk to, and I didn't realize that they'd gone the nonprofit route.
Mm-hmm.
You ever thought about maybe doing something like that?
No, I don't think I have.
Because she was telling me, I don't know what they raise annually, but she said they consistently can get about $50,000 raised a year to keep that space going, if I remember the numbers correctly. But with the community you're building up in Plano, that could be a possibility where you just have like a big annual fundraiser to fund whatever the next step is for you guys, to take a little bit of the stress of that overhead away so you can run it the way you want to run it still.
Yeah.
But, you know, that comes with its own, you know, you got to have a board and there's like more rules and blah, blah, blah.
I know. And that's like,
I know you're not
I'm punk rock. Dude.
I was going to say, I know you're not looking for more rules. You're like, why can't I do a burnout on the stage with my bike?
Well, that was like what turned me off on like the City of Plano stuff to begin with, is we were doing like an outdoor show at McCall Plaza, which is like right outside of Fillmore, that big plaza outside. Yeah. And because it was outdoor, it had to be clean, which is fine. Mm-hmm. You know, I had no issues with that. We have enough clean comics that have strong feature acts in the scene that I'm like, yeah, this is no problem. So like we're emailing with the people, like the lady, like she's, you know, making sure, double checking if we need anything for the show. And I'm like, all we need are chairs. Mm-hmm. Chairs, just as many chairs as possible. Okay. In my mind, it's like, it's the City of Plano. They have like a warehouse somewhere with
you got
chairs.
4,000 chairs hanging out.
And she like reached back out like, you know, a week before. Hey, just reaching back out, making sure you don't need anything for the Arts Fest, your block. I was like, lady, just chair. I can't emphasize this enough. Just as many chairs as you have. Just, we show up there. Somehow there's fewer chairs than normal. They took chairs away. So we have all these people just like standing along the edge and just like watching from like the patio at Fillmore. And it was just like, I mean, it's still like, it was what it was, but like, it just kind of turned me off to working with like municipalities for a little bit.
Yeah, man. Well, depending on who the person is at a city thing anyway, right? The type of person that goes to work for a city is a certain type of personality. They're probably not always going to be really artistic people, right? So it's already probably confusing what you're trying to explain to them. Like, they're like, yeah, show, okay, a couple chairs. But then just the way they probably play telephone with like, well, I'll call so-and-so at this spot and he'll tell so-and-so that we need the chairs. And then that morphs into like, they said like half the chairs that we normally use. And you know, just the inefficiency of most government things, you know, but live and learn.
I'm still open to it, I guess.
Learn.
But it was it was one of those experiences where I was like, you know.
I don't think that's
because the whole thing was such a headache for me, like just trying to organize it and promote it and make sure to get people out there, that it wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah.
And like we did get people out there, and just to, you know, not see the you know, it was an unrequited effort.
Are you still having to really promote this show anymore? Because I feel like now it's it seems like it's taking on a mind of its own, and word of mouth is just doing its thing at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, because in the beginning, you guys were like flyering the apartments and stuff, right?
Yeah.
A lot of like guerrilla marketing tactics.
Yeah, just flyers, around the city, and, you know.
Do you still have to do that?
No.
That's awesome.
Because Niaz was like going to like the managers of like the apartment complexes and like getting a relationship with them, and then just like blasting out the flyers to like all the residents.
Yeah.
And the I think the word of mouth thing really over the last year or so. I mean, because I would say up until maybe our January show of this year, Dude, I get so crazy nervous all day leading up to the show, even up until. But that has like subsided over these past like 4 shows this year.
Yeah,
because I'm just a mess all day in my head. I'm just like nervous. I'm like, nobody's gonna come out. Like, this is the one. This is the last one they're ever gonna let us do. Like,
it's gonna rain today. They're definitely not coming. Like all the little
one
stuff.
time there was honestly a tornado. Like
Yeah.
the power was out. It was whenever we had like a comedy mothership takeover, and it was like Tony Casillas, Heather Keith, and Dylan Sullivan, I think is his last name. They came up from Austin, and there was like a tornado that had happened like that night before, so the power was out completely.
Yeah.
And it was up until I was like texting him. I was like, because I didn't want to make him drive up here for nothing, because the power wasn't out at Fillmore too. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna let him know that if the power's not on by like 1 o'clock, just don't even like waste your time. Like just stay. It's fine. And then the power went back on at like, I'm not even exaggerating, like 12:50, like right before I was about to text him, like, all right, just stay. So, but that show, dude, it was jam packed. And that show, I was like, oh, there's nobody's gonna come out. Like a tornado just happened. There's like trees in the street here. Like,
Yeah.
So I get like nervous because it's still like, it's a free show, so you don't know if people are gonna come.
Yeah, you can't see how many tickets are sold.
Yeah, the benefit with doing some of these other like pop-up shows and stuff is that they can see what their ticket count. So even if like it's small, they can take those chairs away and give the amount of chairs it needs for it to feel like a packed house, a sold out show.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that luxury, which is fine. I'm not like wishing it was another way.
No,
it's just
no,
it
it's
is
just
what it is, you know.
No, it's just, I mean, it's nice to hear the nerves and concerns of someone, even when it is a successful show, right? Because I think the comics you work with definitely appreciate how the show's run. But for comics who maybe haven't performed yet or have never put on a show of their own, it's like, yeah, even when it's a good show, there's still things to worry about. There's still just so much out of your control that could ruin your day. And you just got to do it still, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because when we did Pazvar's recording, it's like, we know the tickets are sold. And we're still thinking like, yeah, but what if they bought the tickets a few months ago and changed their mind and they just want to do something better? And they're okay just losing the, I think we were charging like $20 for a ticket. It's like, they're okay just losing that because something better has come. And, and the room's going to be half full. And because we did ours in December. So it's like, they're going to have holiday parties and functions and it's just all racing through your mind. And, when we finally saw the people coming in and the chairs actually filling up and we knew we were going to have more than like a couple rows of people, we're like, okay, that's over. And then it turned into like, what if the PA fails or the light falls over? Just all the stuff that could derail you. You know? And
y'all only did one show too, right? Yeah. Just the one.
Well, first of all, that's all I can afford to do, and that's all he can sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would love to do 2, 3, 4 recordings like the big time pros do, but you're talking about filming 4 shows.
Nah, the one is better though, to be honest, dude.
So I just had Pazvar on here and was talking to him about that. And I think if you're an ultra professional, if you're pick your favorite comic that's, your version of made it and they've been in the business for 20, 30 years, right? I think if they want to do 4 shows because they just want to be aware of like, like if a weird, crazy heckling situation comes up and ruins it, and they're able to swap it, right? I think that for them should be allowed because they've already proven that they are capable of being extremely funny. They're not relying on the edit. It's like a safety net for some chaos, right? Because the comics I've listened to, like Bill Burr's and Andrew Santino's, people like that who've recorded multiple, they all still end up saying like, yeah, we used like 98% of one show. We just pulled a thing so it's like the other ones were just for your ego to make you feel better, like a little pressure's off. But now doing this with Lawrence and Michael, both of them were one take, one shot, and they each had their own problems that you run into, like people walking in front of cameras, weird coughs. And Lawrence's, he was trying to hit a punchline and he like does the like da-da-da pause and then hits the punch. And in the space between the pause, the setup and the punch, someone pops a bottle of, like they had ordered champagne or something, and so you hear the cork pop really loud. And you get lucky, yeah. So it's like, well, that was in the dead silence, so I can just edit that out real quick. But there's just these things where if they had done that over one of his words, it would have been like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
But I will say, watching the two of them feel the pressure of one shot, I think makes their performance better. Like, I think they took it so seriously because they knew, like, if I screw it up, this is it. And I just felt like the two of them, at least, it made them really lock in on, like, I got to do the prep work, Well, and thanks to y'all, Cowabunga, both of them were able to come on and work on their material on those shows, because we'd had conversations with each of them about, hey, man, it's a show. You're a professional. You know how to do this, but it is just the one chance. Like, we're not going to be able to get your fans, family, and friends back out here for another night, and I don't have enough money to get this crew back out here again. So
put the M&M on, baby. This is
exactly. And I don't know, man. Now I think even if I had a bigger budget, I kind of like doing it this way. I think there's a very positive stress on the comic that maybe they don't want, but I think it makes you feel better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You've opened up for big names. I'm sure it's similar to that pressure of, like, this is the first time I've worked with this bigger name, and I want to.
Well, I remember, like, just even like the first time I just ran my hour, just like I wanted to make sure I wasn't like looking at my notes. I wanted to make sure that it was like. So I remember just like the few months leading up to that, just like wherever I could get a 10-minute chunk, a 15-minute chunk, just like deliberately being very, very, choice with what section of the material I was going to do, and like running it in its entirety of like that segment.
Yeah.
And so
that's stressful.
It is, but it's like you got to put in the work. I mean, come on, we're telling jokes. It's not that bad.
Maybe it's not about putting stress on you. I think maybe it's about taking away the, like, well, if I don't get it here, I'll get it there. And it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't think that way. Like, think, I got to get it now.
Yeah. Also, like, through putting yourself like in the gauntlet like that, I mean, I probably wasn't like, I hadn't, that 2 or 3 month stretch, the amount of times I was on stage was probably akin to like my first like few years of comedy.
Yeah.
When I was just like, I got to get on every stage possible. Like, when I first started comedy, I was at minimum doing like 11 mics a week, I would say.
Remind me what year that was?
2015.
Okay. So we would have had
stand-up, yeah.
We would have had fewer clubs at that point, right?
Yeah, but I was going to like Denton, to like Mabel Peabody's Chain Shop Repair and Drag Bar, just like the Lion and Crown at the Addison Ice House, which was like a acoustic guitar open mic.
Yeah.
But you'd show up and then you'd be like, hey, I do comedy. And they'd be like, oh, please do as much time as you want. They don't want to listen to acoustic Blink 182 covers anymore. So like you could go work out like 10, 15 minutes there,
Yeah.
And so stuff like that. I was just, and I would go back, not to Mabel Peabody's, but like places like that when I was like trying to really hone and polish.
Was this when you were getting prepped for Rebel Without Applause?
No, this is at Addison Improv last year.
Okay.
Last year.
Gotcha. Because Rebel Without Applause was the first recording, right?
Yeah, that was in 2019. But it was like a similar thing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Remind me what you titled. Was it just Live from Addison? Live at Addison Improv?
I didn't really. It's not. Oh well, there is one from the half hour that I have up from.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, that's just like a half hour that I threw up.
Oh, okay. So you're just talking about just running the hour set that you were working on, like in real time.
Yeah, it was a 58-minute set.
Not a recording.
Yeah, no, we recorded it. I don't want to get into that.
You don't want to?
It was sad. We lost it. We lost the recording.
Oh, like something just happened and it.
Yeah, we had it and then we lost it.
Dude, that's a freaking nightmare of mine. The amount of panic I have with just like redundancy for that.
Yeah.
So like the most stressful part of me during the recording is just the file transfer from like cameras and audio equipment to a hard drive. And it's like, okay, now we have 2 copies, right? And then taking it from that hard drive onto another one, I'm like, all right, now we have 3 copies. And then uploading that to like a Dropbox or something, it's like, okay, we have 4 copies, like just in case. And even that, it never makes me feel like comfort. I'm thinking it's like if you have 2 copies, you really have none. And if you have 3, you have 1. And like, I don't know, but
Well, I have none.
well, you know what it's made me think about a lot is think about like films, like movies. I'm just trying to think of like The Gladiator or something, like a huge blockbuster movie where they were like, we're going to shoot it on film. I don't know if they did, but like a lot of those styles, they're like, I want to use film.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like at some point through all of this, I guess there's just one thing of film only, and somebody has to transport that and make a backup, I guess. And it's like, I couldn't imagine the pressure of like, you're in this remote location, you've got 400 extras, because it's before CGI or whatever.
Yeah.
And you got the perfect take, and your lead actors, everybody's leaving, they're going home, and you just fly that back to LA to do editing.
Yeah,
like,
I was just reading something that like Toy Story got like deleted whenever they were working on it, but like some woman had it on her hard drive at home, and so she
just had one.
She saved it. Yeah,
that's insane. I mean, it's given me an appreciation for projects like that. Going like, I never really thought about it's just hard drives and computers that this is all on, and shit fails all the time. And you can't put it on too many copies because then it gets leaked, and now that's ruined. So it's like, yeah, we can have a couple copies, and they got to stay in certain places. Like, well, what if there's been times where I've had all my hard drives here, and I was like, what if there was a fire here?
Oh yeah,
and it's just gone. And like Pazvar's thing is ruined because the fire happened.
Yeah.
And so
you gotta spread them out like a Horcrux.
I had to keep,
like Voldemort's Horcrux.
I kept one here.
Parts.
I kept one here, one online, one at home, and then I had a super secret backup at my locker at my work, just in case.
Yeah.
Like could you. Like, we're in Texas. What if a tornado comes through here?
Yeah, these are legitimate concerns.
And my home is near the studio. What if it hits? What if it hits both?
That's what these are real fears. Like these are not.
To go tell Mike, like, yeah, man, like, I know you worked hard for like 18 months on this set, and you sold all those tickets and brought all those people out, and you had like a great night, and you gave like this heartfelt thing at the end that's not on the camera, like thanking everyone, but like we got to do it again.
Oh,
could you
man.
Could you imagine that speech?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, sorry. When that happened to you, did you think, fuck it, we're going to redo it? Or like, did this buzz kill that for you?
Well, I was like pretty heartbroken for a while, and it really like put me in a pretty sad place. And I just like wasn't even like writing for a while. I'd say mostly like towards the end of the year, like November and December, I was like pretty.
Was this 2025?
Yeah.
Just happened.
Yeah. We recorded it last summer.
That's brutal, man.
And
you're not going to tell me how you lost it, though? Like, was it like Parker Slavens was on here? I don't know if you got to talk to him about his recording.
Yeah, I opened up for him on that.
Okay. Did he tell you that he had his laptop in a backpack and like a water bottle leaked in there and fried his laptop?
Oh, no.
And he had to take it to Geek Squad or something and just pray. And then luckily they recovered the files.
I'm taking it to some Russian right now, Ace Data Recovery, and they're really bending me over.
So it was the laptop or the hard drive or something.
Yeah, yeah. So we're trying to,
That's tough.
It's like they were able to like recover what they claim was like 100% of it.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, well, it could be corrupt in one of these that it was corrupted. It could be one of these. And I'm like, okay, well, can we just like look at the date and see like what matches up? And they're like, oh, it doesn't work like that.
How does it work?
I'm like, I don't. This is. I don't even have a computer. This is all out of my wheelhouse.
If you
like,
found it, can't you just put it somewhere else? And
I don't think they can
know.
find. It's like finding a needle in a haystack because it's like a
Yeah.
terabyte worth of like data.
Just give me all the terabytes.
Yeah, it's so.
Do you want to borrow one of my hard drives and just tell them put it all in here?
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
If you need to, let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so okay. Let's play it out. It's too complicated. It's ruined. They can't recover it. It's gone forever, and there's no hope. Like, do you just find the will to do it again, or do you take it as a sign to just write different material and start a new path?
Well, I only up until maybe this past, I don't know, month or so have I really been like writing like that.
Because of this event?
Yeah, it just like
That's brutal.
took all the wind out of my sails, you know. And then I thought maybe there was like a glimmer of hope, like with this like data recovery place, and then that turned into this. So it's just like it's been kind of a roller coaster. But
if there's any 15-year-old autistic people listening right now who can fix this in like an instant, like please reach out.
Yeah,
you know, like
that would be something.
there's got to be some you know, just whiz out there who just does this stuff for fun.
You know, I've got maybe like a 8-minute like snippet of it that I like,
just enough to give you some hope.
Yeah,
and crush it.
Yeah, well, it's like when I had it like originally, you know, and then like a little sample, basically, like 8-minute like kind of sample, like here's how it looks, and but that's it. That's awesome.
I'm so sorry, man. That's not only is that my worst fear, but I know the more of these that I attempt to record, that inevitably one will do that. Like there will be one that I lose if I just. It's a numbers game, right?
No, you put in your due diligence. I don't think that would ever happen to you.
It's like anything, though. Like just something, you know, something happens every now and then. Like when I recorded, when Peyton Payne was in here doing her podcast episode, somehow I bumped some switch on the camera where it wasn't recording on the SD cards the way I normally do. And so about like 15 minutes in, it just, all the video cuts off. And you don't know until the end of the episode, we're done recording, and it's like, great. And it doesn't kill it, it doesn't crush it, but it's just, you're thinking like, I never even thought I would accidentally bump this thing and make that happen. There's always these little things that just every now and then you're going to learn that tough lesson.
Did you guys release it?
Yeah, on the video, like once it cut off, I just put a thing that was like, hey, I messed up this thing. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
Here's the audio. You know,
I see.
which sucks. But yeah, I'm not going to not release the episode over a little thing. It's going to go out there. To me, it's all part of the learning process. Like the really early video episodes, you can see that my lighting was bad and I didn't know what I was doing yet with that. And it's like, I don't give a shit. I think that's part of the fun of the journey of all this, you know?
It's the same thing with our shows, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, we didn't have the backdrop or anything, or, you know, we aspired to have all this kind of like make it feel as clubby as possible, but like, you know, the sound equipment was not what it was. This is like our third iteration of like a PA, you know? It's just like, we just keep trying to make things better.
But you've used the same PA guy, right?
Yeah,
What's
Rob.
Rob?
His name's Rob. He's
Man,
a great guy.
I talked about it when Nick Hawk was on here, because when I watched his performance, I was a little blown away by Rob, because I didn't realize he had the capacity now to start doing audio cues and things. And like, you know, now he's a part of the show, queuing up Nick's music.
Walk-up songs. And that was huge.
Nick's music, right?
That can be really tedious.
Like,
that can be asking a lot.
Rob is part of that performance now, and he nailed it. So, and it's like the faith that Nick has to put in him. You know, how you've been in bands. How many sound guys do you run into at clubs who just don't care? They're bothered that you're asking anything extra. And so, yeah, when Nick was doing that performance, like I was laughing at Nick's work. I mean, it was hilarious. But midway through, I'm looking over and I'm like, oh, the guy's hitting music cues at this, no offense, bar show.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
And it's like, all right, I guess we leveled up a little more. That's pretty awesome.
He crushed that night too.
Yeah.
Nick really brought the house down.
Yeah.
But Rob, he's a good listener.
That's a solid guy.
You know, a lot of times,
because it was like 3 songs, I think, wasn't it? 3 or 4. He did a couple.
It was at least 3.
Yeah, and to not mess up the order, to hit it right. You know, I mean, there was no dead space between Nick's performance and trying. It wasn't like, okay, bear with me, it's track 2.
Yes,
track
no,
2. Scroll. Like none of that was happening. It was just on. It's like, damn, all right. And you know, that's stuff like the audience you'll never appreciate, and you shouldn't have to. Like the sound should work, right? But you know,
they don't think about that. They only notice it when it goes wrong.
Yeah. So it's like Rob being the unsung hero of that performance, allowing it to happen. You know, because if it's just a PA and you're like, yeah, we can't do that. It's like, okay, great. Nick has to figure out how to fill in, 4 or 5 more minutes now with other material.
Well, luckily we have our intern Aaron also.
Okay.
And Rob is a good teacher. He showed him how to do everything. So one time Rob wasn't there, and Aaron still got all the music cues great. And
there you go, man.
Knows when to fade out. And people are on stage.
What's in it for the intern? Why do they want to do this?
He's just a teenager. I mean, he was a high school kid when I met him. He was literally like,
is he getting like credit for school or something?
No.
Like, no, he's just chilling, being a part of it.
He just wants to hang out. He just sees the vision, dude. I don't explain it. I can't.
What a great teenage thing that, like, as a teenager, I would have loved to have worked at a thing like that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You're around like comedy like
adults
this.
and beer and like
Yeah. He gets to bring his like little like floozy girlfriends that he like
There you
dates.
go.
He brings them in and shows them, hey baby, this is my life.
And if you're the girlfriend right now, we're not talking about you. You're not the floozy. We're talking about different ones. You're the better one.
Yeah. No, Aaron, great guy, and you know, just it's cool to have people like that who support. I mean, like, dude, for our 2-year anniversary one, people brought us like cow cupcakes and like
That's
cow party hats, and like I was just like, wow, I was like touched. I would say like 50% of the crowd was like wearing our shirts, you know, and I was just like, wow, this is insane.
And that's equally impressive when it's just like it's a cow logo. And it's like, I like it. It's fun. I think it fits the vibe perfect.
Yeah.
But, you know, people like get weird about their fashion and what they want to wear. So it's like, sometimes you wonder, like, would they buy this and wear this? I don't know. But
Speaking of, I have your shirt.
hey,
I forget.
Oh my God, is this the basketball shirt?
Yeah.
God, I'm like, what, a year behind on this now? When was the tournament?
Last September, the end of September.
Man, can I tell you, I am, you know, not to get down, I don't want to go down a big rabbit hole here, but I've been trying to figure out these cardiac issues I'm having. So like I've got an MRI tomorrow. I just got through wearing a Holter monitor. I did like a stress test and all these things. I'm having something called PVCs, which is your heart is contracting extra beat when it's not supposed to. A ton of people have them. They never feel them, and you're not going to die from it. But I'm fortunate enough that I get to feel them all the time. So like when I was doing my stress test, it was like every 4th beat, and it just feels like a boom in your chest, and then like you lose your breath for a second. And so when you're out like exercising, you know, like I was running a lot, and it's like I'm out running around like White Rock Lake by myself, and you feel this, and you're like, cool. So this is where I drop dead, and this is where I'm going to die. That's because it feels like a heart thing, you know, and it'll just keep happening. It could take like a couple minutes to calm down, and you know, it could be stress related. It could be something in my diet. I don't know what it is. We're trying to track that down now. But whatever it is, this past year or so, it's been getting worse. So like this past Dallas Marathon, because I've done the Dallas Marathon and the Fort Worth Marathon back to back for the last 4 years. And in 2025 in December, when I went to do that Dallas Marathon, that was the first one I had to quit because I got into like mile 3 or 4. And the whole time I was running, anytime I started running, it was just just PVCs.
Oh, damn.
And so you're on mile 2 or 3 and you're like, I got 23 miles to go. I don't think, because usually I'm like, I can take a couple deep breaths, get this under control, and then we keep going. But now I can't seem to like calm it down when I do that. And so we're trying to see like what our options are. But there's been like multiple weekends where it's like, God, I could have gone out to this game this Saturday.
Yeah.
I could have done this, you know, but the basketball cardio,
Yeah, risk it.
the basketball cardio is even more intense than the marathon running because it's all sprinting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're cutting, and you know.
Yeah. So like if I go run, you know, my heart rate is in like 120s or 130s maybe. If I play basketball, it's like 140s. You know, and it starts getting really up there. And then the higher the heart rate's going right now, the more of those I'm having. And I'm like, fuck, man. So I'm at the point now. It's like if they want to give me a surgery or something, like let's do it. Because you know I've got 2 kids that are young. I'm an active person. Like I don't want to stop being active because of this. So it's like you need to go burn something in the heart. They have like ablations. It's like if you need to go burn this stuff away, let's do it. Let's burn it. You know.
Wow.
And I spent like a bunch of money doing these non-insurance covered like lab tests because I was thinking like, okay, I'm low on like iron, magnesium, something, and this is making this happen. Because for the last 5 months now, I've been on like a real strict diet, thinking like I'm going to lose weight. My goal is to get down to my BMI weight, and I know people have different opinions on that, but I want to get to my BMI weight of 175 and see what that is. And at my heaviest, I was 237, so very far off from the BMI weight. Now today, I was 203, so we're close, you know. And the weight's been coming off nicely. Been eating healthy for 5 months. No caffeine, no alcohol, almost no sugar. Like my treat last week was 1 Reese's cup. You know, so I've been staying on it. And I've never felt more miserable. and it's not like I'm upset that I'm eating healthy. It's like physically my body feels terrible. So I did these lab tests to see like, I guess I'm doing this wrong. I'm missing something in my diet. You know, I'm messing up. And the labs have been coming back in. It's like I'm supposed to have like well over 100 things checked or something. They took 14 vials of blood to do these labs. So it's like extensive, and everything's coming back like perfect, nothing wrong. And I'm turning 41 at the end of this week, and they're saying my biological age so far, based off of my labs, is 31.
Whoa, that's huge.
That's great, right? But
I think so.
But also, it's like, okay, well, may I feel like I'm 31 years old? Is that possible? Because right now I feel like tired and weak, and then I'm having these PVCs, and it's so I don't know. And so I'm desperately wanting to get out to this Cowabunga basketball game again, because the only one I went to, I was having so much fun. But even that day, it was like PVCs the whole time.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Oh man,
and so it's like it's pulling the fun out of it.
Yeah, probably not worth it then at that point.
I mean,
until you get this corrected,
they say it won't kill you. You know, they say you're good.
I guess if the pain is worth it.
It's not pain. It's fear. You know, like you feel that in your chest, and you just think, I'm going to be one of those stories. You know, oh God, you know, and then you guys are just going to be like posting on Facebook, like, oh, we like this podcast. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He went out at the Cowabunga game.
Yeah, the game, we might have to take an off week after that. Maybe kind of bad for the game.
We'll say some words before we start we're not going to skip a week. But man, that is
well, at the very least, you got to come to the tournament. You should try to make it to the tournament.
I will.
Year.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to make it an annual thing.
The real reason I skipped the tournament last time, it wasn't even the PVCs. It was my daughter was being born.
Oh, that's right.
Right? Yeah.
I think Cody Swindell's was too.
Oh, that's right. I can't remember the actual date, but I know ours were super close. I'll have to message them. They might be the same birthday.
He played.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. No. Was she at the hospital?
I don't think so. But he was.
But that was the due date.
But he was like, be aware that I might have to drop.
He's the only one allowed to wear his watch to see if he gets a call.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Well, you know, if he wants to take that risk, he can. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of...
well, it worked out.
My leash is shorter, I guess, maybe is what's going on. But good for him, man. Did he play better because he was...
I think our team knocked him out, maybe.
Oh, okay. Were you on the championship team?
We got third place.
Okay.
The Blazing Buckets. No.
That's good, because if you ever win it all, people are going to wonder if you rigged it somehow.
Yeah. Oh, they just can't accept my skills, I guess.
How many people do you have coming out at different times now?
Like every week?
No. Like the full roster of people that you think have played once and kind of come in every now and then and play. Like you've probably got, 30 or 40 people that show up at different times?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say any given weekend we probably have 8 to 15 that come out. So
that in itself. So there's another one where it's like the community thing.
Yeah.
People are just vibing with it.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize well, I guess I was really, there's a male loneliness epidemic going on.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really why we did
it. And if you're a man, no one really wants to hear about it either.
Yeah, well, but it's not like that. I just wanted to play. Like I've been trying to. I love hooping. I always have, and I was just playing by myself, and I would just put it out on Instagram sometimes where I was like shooting around and just asking, if anybody would ever be interested in any comedians in DFW, because it's more fun to play with comedians, because even though there's a huge ego of a comedian, like when it comes to something athletic, the joke usually comes first, So like they don't take themselves too seriously, which is great.
Yeah.
And luckily everybody we play with is like within the same marginal kind of like athleticness and competitiveness. So it keeps all the games fun. And but yeah, it really just kind of snowballed. I mean, for a while it was like me and Nathan Rivas and like Ish Santiago. Sometimes it was just like me and Ish out there playing, or me and Nathan Rivas
21.
Just playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would show up every Saturday. Yeah. I was showing up.
It's another fun thing. I think that's what's fascinating about y'all, because I've talked to a lot of different people about why some of these larger clubs, these established venues, have trouble selling out weeknights. And I know they're selling tickets, so that's different. But, you have these scenes, right? Like in New York, California, Chicago, where there's comedy 5 nights a week. They have crowds that want to come out and watch it. And I think if you curate good shows, that's possible. And I've talked to so many people who are like, no, DFW doesn't do that. Like, they won't show up for that. Like, the people, they don't know comedies out here. They won't do it. But then here you guys are. Yeah, it's a once-a-month show, but it's still a Wednesday night. And for a lot of people, that's a hard ask, and that's the excuse I've been hearing is like, the weeknight stuff, maybe a Wednesday, but it's really just, here in DFW, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday. And it's like, it feels like a cop-out, Some of these very well-established places that have significant financial backing because they've been successful, to me, it's like, well, y'all know what you're doing. You could do a free night similar to what you guys are doing just to move the alcohol and have shows for comics and fans. It's just, you got to put the effort into it and try to do it correctly, whatever that is, whatever version of correct is for you, And the amount of shows I've seen where people will put a show on even like a Thursday, and then you see like, they had to cancel it, like not enough tickets sold. And it's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, you're well established, you have funds, and you should have an expertise at this point. You should know how to market a weeknight show and make sure we got at least 30 people in the crowd, right?
What club are you talking about specifically?
I guess I don't know if they've canceled. Well, like Hyenas probably just isn't doing weeknight shows, right? They're probably not doing too many of those. I think they do like the 320s or 325. Is that what theirs is? That's usually a Thursday, I think. I guess it would probably mostly be DCC's small room if they don't move tickets there, and then maybe Addison, but I can't remember if the Improv has canceled shows or not. And then I think there's more where it has been canceled and you just don't hear about it. I only hear about it from people that I knew were on the shows, and they're like, you see their post and it's like, oh, we didn't move enough tickets, and it's like, yeah, I guess some of that's on the performer, but it's like the formula needs to change. If you know it's going to be a tough show to sell, why not make it a free show? Try to move some drinks, right?
Yeah,
why not throw those comps out there and make it ticketed, but like put all the comps on there and get the room full, right?
I'm right there with you.
You're selling beer. You're selling beer, and you're getting new faces to your club to maybe buy the Saturday night ticket eventually, right?
Yeah.
And that's me coming from a place of not owning and running a club and not even producing a show. So what do I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pretend like I know everything, but
ultimately, I think
a place like DCC and Deep Ellum should be able to put on a quality Tuesday night show. That seems like it should be able to happen some way. Same with like Hyenas Dallas. I don't know the demographics of Fort Worth that much, of the square, because I know the population is just a little less over there. But Dallas around Mockingbird Station seems like we could be able to do nightly shows of some kind there and have butts in seats, even if you're not fully selling it out, But again, I don't run a room. What do I know?
Yeah, I mean, in my experience running a room, if you want to pack it out, you'll figure a way to pack it out.
Because I think what would drive me crazy is, okay, I'm paying a water bill, a light bill, a lease on these nights where it's just sitting empty.
Yeah,
like I'm not. Not only am I not making money, but essentially I'm losing money, right? It's like every day I don't do a podcast in this studio, the money's wasted, And
sure.
I mean, I could take my own advice. Why am I not doing 7 podcasts a week, right? But still, at a club level, it's like there's so many performers now, locally, regionally. It's like I feel like you could do that, but you guys are one of the few people that are doing it. You're selling out. Well, they're free tickets, but the people are showing up, and it's a full crowd Wednesday night, which other people are saying, can't be done.
Yeah, people are, when people like come from out of town or out of, like, we just had a guy from Poland on our last show, Tomek Kolecki. And yeah, he was like, this is a Wednesday here? This is like better than any of the shows I've done. Like, he's in his like tourist visa. He's here for a few months, so he's like bouncing around the country.
Yeah.
I think he's based in Austin right now, but he was just like, but that's pretty common. When people come from out of state, they can't really wrap their minds around what's happening.
It's a unique thing.
And yeah, and I think, a lot of, now because it's like 3 years in, like if you're a comic, you kind of like understand it as it's like entity, like it's kind of like a a touchstone of the scene. You know, like it's so. If you're on the outside looking in, though, like it's like it can be hopefully inspiring because it's like you should be able to do this in your town also. Like there's no reason why things like this shouldn't exist everywhere.
Well, it's going to take someone, caring about it in a way that's not a stepping stone just for their comedy, right? Because you and Niaz are both comics, right? And you could use this as like, we'll do a show and then we'll get popular, and it's like that's not the way it works, though. I think that's why a lot of bar shows struggle is
our motto
this
is
comic's
very
trying to
much,
get more time, so they make a show, and it's like
Yes,
you should do that.
yeah.
You should do that. You should hustle, but you got to let the show be its thing, right?
And that's still kind of like what it is because it's like I'm I'll do like 5 to 7, 5 to 10 up top sometimes, and but like for the most part, always new just because I know at this point 80% of the crowd. I poll the crowd like whenever I first get up on stage, like round of applause who here's never been to a show, round of applause who has been to a Cowabunga night before, and we've just seen that number go from like 40-60, 50-50, 60-40, 70-30 to where I would say now it's about 80-20.
Yeah, of returning customers.
Of returning. So it's like it's a challenge. It's like I have to do new material, or at least brush off old material that I'm like trying to rework or something. So I still use it for that because the show's a great litmus test too. Like if it works there, it will work on the weekend. It'll work anywhere for the most part.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that even comics that you like here locally, that you've had to have a conversation or two where it's like, it just may not work in this room, that it's just a little different. What is it? What are some of the differences of that room where if you're coming in with like club material or something, it may just not hit as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still a bar show at its core, so you still have to overcome the elements, and at a club, the attention is on you. Like people are there, and it's understood that your attention is already being commanded by this person on stage. At our show, you still have to command that attention. Like it's still a bar. Even if 100% of the people were there for comedy, you still have to deal with the bartender like shaking the ice in the back, dropping something in the back. There's still like a bar right there.
The kitchen door swinging
kitchen
open,
door
delivering
swinging,
the nachos.
People opening the door, coming in, seeing what's going on. The servers going out to the patio, opening that door. Like there's still like, sounds that it's like, or it's there's a lot going on for the crowds to kind of get distracted by. And if you're not like really, really compelling, it's going to be a little flat. It's going to be flat. And I'm not even saying you have to be high energy. Like I've seen people with like low energy be able to crush.
Yeah. Well, Byron Stamps, the one I watched, he's a lower energy guy, but
he's compelling.
And he also followed Nick Hawk, who's a high energy guy.
Yeah.
So the crowd will go. You got to, I guess, maybe more commanding rather than like energetic. It's like something about you's got to draw them in.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're like, man, I got to pay attention. What is this guy about to say next? So, I try to get as many people on the show as possible, and plus we get a lot of comics who just come out to support. I would say any given show we have 2 to 6 comics from the scene who are there just hanging out. They just want to watch the show. Some of them probably want stage time. Yeah, well, I don't blame them. I would do the same thing.
But you got to do. Yeah.
But it's also like, people ask like if they can get a guest spot sometimes, and if you're in the room, the likelihood of you getting a guest spot goes up exponentially.
Yeah,
it's like if you're not there, I'm not gonna. But even if you are there, like it's still like never a guarantee. Like I never guarantee it for anybody. It's just like it's based on like what's the room like? What's the show giving us? What's the energy? Who's here in the room? Where could you fall in the order that it would make sense for the show to like? It's still about the show ultimately. So if it's there in service of the show, and we could use your 5 minutes, then I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that you can go up.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's scene over self. Like I'm not going up and doing 20 minutes. I think I've only ever done one like feature spot there in 3 years.
Yeah.
And that was like 2 New Year's Eves ago where I did like a 20-minute set, you know. Other than that, I'm doing, 5 minutes up top, just trying new stuff because it's like I want to give as much time to everybody who's there as I can, you know. Mm-hmm. The comics who are booked, obviously, I want them to fulfill all their time, but also like the people who just show up and it's like you've been crushing it at the Bebop, and I see you putting in the work. You're not here for vacation. You're not here to just like hang. You're actually here for work, and it's like I like to reward those people. I was rewarded, and I like to reward those people too.
Yeah,
and I think if you're good to the scene is good to you, and yeah. So I just dude, I looked at the numbers from this past. I don't know how many months it was. 14 months or so. Mm-hmm. We had 56 different featured sets available. We used 51 different comedians.
Wow.
For 56 different sets over the last 14 shows or so.
There you go.
So like there's just a deep pool of like talent here, and I would like to get everybody as much time as possible. But it's like I know we have so many returning people that like you're probably going to do it once or twice a year if we're being honest. Like,
Well, and that's probably great, right?
Yeah.
Again, we were talking about the one take filming specials. It's like, great. Hey, this might be your one chance at Cowabunga this year. Go ahead and bring the heat.
Yeah.
Come in strong and just kind of seize that moment. Like you said, turn the Eminem music on, get hyped up.
And there's some people. I mean, there's some people that come out to the mic and they
the open mic.
Yeah, the open mic. And some people they I don't know. I think they think, oh yeah, I can bring people.
Right.
Why don't you let me do a Cowabunga? I can like bring people, and I'm like, man, you're just like very out of touch with like the culture we're like creating here. Like, this is not one of those like pay for play kind of vibes. Like, we're like a collective here, where it's just like
I put a thing out there, inviting people to reach out if they're ready to be recorded because I want to do like shorter, like 10, 15-minute sets. Because my logic is, I love doing the long recordings and I want to do more of those. But, it's a production. It costs money. And, I might only be able to do one of those a year with that budget, right? But if I can get, 6 people on a show who are ready to release like 10 or 15 minutes, record that whole night, essentially the similar length, and then now I can release like one a month or something, then, it gives me more runway while I'm waiting to do the big one for somebody, an hour for somebody or something. And so I put a feeler out there like, hey, if you're interested, like reach out, I'll check it out. Blah, blah. And there was a couple people who that was their pitch, rather than sending me like a clip or inviting me to a show, it was like, oh yeah, I can get this many people and like I can promote it in front of this many people once it's released and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but same thing. It's like, that would be great. I would love it if you could get in front of 100,000 people, but the root of it, I still need you to have something that's funny and funny in your own kind of voice or whatever it is.
Yeah, because I'm also putting my name on it. You know? So
and I'm not looking for a certain style. I'm not looking for a certain thing. I just want to go like, that's their set, and they love doing that set, or whatever this bit is. It's like that's unique enough to be them and interesting and.
Propositions like that, though, like take that to the clubs. Like the clubs would love that.
Yeah.
Like, I can bring people. Like I suck, but I can bring people, and it's like, oh, I know a lot of clubs that'll reward that.
There's a place for it.
Oh yeah, there's several places here for it.
But
we have like standards. Like I'm trying to like we have standards at Cowabunga. I don't know what to say. Like
it needs to be funny.
Yeah, funny over everything. And
because on the flip side, you can bring 0 people, but if you're really funny, you got a good chance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. So it's like you don't have to bring the people. You just got to see, like, do you take this seriously? Do you want to be funny? Do you want to do this? I mean, that should give you more hope. I think it's just hard for people who aren't funny to hear that because it's like you can't overcome not being funny without work. And even with the work, maybe you're still just not funny. It's like some people just aren't, and that sucks.
Yeah. There's and depending on, I mean, I've seen like the evolution of this scene. Like it's kind of crazy to think about. Like first, it's crazy to think of like how the pandemic changed this scene too. Like,
so I started this, 2019, and then the pandemic hit. So it's like I started, and then there was like a pause, and so I didn't really know much before the pandemic, but it felt like through this podcast, even, you know, like it's changed so much just in, you know, 5 years now.
There's more like sub scenes now, you know, like there used to be a little bit more like, you know, there was way fewer comedians, you know, so like they're just there just had to be mathematically like everybody's kind of, and fewer clubs too. So now each club kind of has like its own culture and has its own like kind of like loyalists.
From the outside, it feels super cliquey.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like I work at this club, and, you know, like there's like the Hyenas people who go through whatever that philosophy is, the DCC people where they're like, we went through the school and the showcase and now we do these things. You know, it's like there's the preferential treatment at each venue, which then makes its own little cliques.
Yeah.
You know,
and we try to like, I mean, like I feel like even like when I was like in high school, I was like one of those guys. I was like cool with all the cliques, you know. I wasn't in one clique. I was like, so,
yeah. And I'm not saying it's bad. Like,
I mean, it is what it is.
If
but
DCC
it's like,
and Hyenas want to run it that way,
I'm
that's
sure
their
some
club,
people
yeah.
like look at the Cowabunga thing as like it's its own clique, but like we're as like collective, I think, as more so and more diverse in terms of our lineups and.
I would think
who we have on our roster than probably any club here, for sure.
I would say your potential to get the foot in the door is higher. Like, it's accessible, but it's not going to be like, oh, you showed up. Well, you know, yeah, let's work it. Like, you're not just taking anybody, but it's like you can go hit up the Bebop open mic and maybe an opportunity comes up, right?
I mean, 51 different comics over the last 14. So it's like, I mean, do clubs have rosters that big? I would say probably most of them don't. So, like,
and if they do, would you consider them all, you know, high quality weekend performers?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have a couple that dip here and there, you know, so.
Yeah, but like the pandemic, I mean, I remember starting at Backdoor, and I was like when I was like working weekends there, I was like the youngest person there by probably about 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened, and some of the old heads died, and some of them got scared away, and some of them are like slowly dipping their toe back. Even like just recently, I saw somebody I haven't seen since the pandemic.
Wow,
like an old you know pre-pandemic comedian, and then just I feel like in like 1 month I went from being like the youngest guy at Backdoor to like now I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my, I just became like one of the oldest all of a sudden. And it's like, you know, in just this 1 month, just because of how many like old people got scared off, you know, the pandemic scared away. And because of that, like, I don't know. I think I was in a weird position too, because I was so young. Like whenever I started, I'm just around all these old heads who've been doing it for like 20 years, and these are like touring guys, like Robert Hawkins. You know Robert Hawkins? Dude, he like would write for like the Christopher Titus show. He was like just a road dog.
And this was
just,
a backdoor.
Oh
regular?
yeah. He was insane. I mean, he would. I think he like wrote jokes for like Ron White back in the day. Wow. He would like, it just one of the funniest guys. I mean, like Chris Brown was one, Bob Strange. These are like guys that like, whenever you're young and you're like learning what it is to be a comedian, you're kind of like taking your cues from these guys. And then the pandemic happens, all those guys leave, and I'm still like kind of like, you know, these are my behaviors from like how these guys taught me. But then there's this whole new culture of comedians coming up that it's like that aren't really in tune with what you know.
Well, there's
I guess what the standards used to be.
There's lessons lost, right? You know what I'll compare it to? I'll compare it to that I noticed, because this makes perfect sense, and I hadn't thought about it in the comedy scene until you just said that. But I watch a lot of these newcomers, and I think, you know, you've seen it, and I'm not a comic, but I feel like I've watched enough that I'm noticing. You notice the phases of like new. I'm hitting open mics. I'm getting a host set. I'm featuring. Like you see these similar paths that people take, right?
Yeah.
There's like the people who are doing showcases at clubs like Backdoor or DCC or whatever, who have only been doing open mics. You feel that jumpy energy. You feel a lot of that asking validation from the crowd, like, right?
Oh,
You know those things, right? All the nervous fill-ins that you don't even realize
There
you're
used to
doing.
be a buzzword that people would say, and I was like, you took classes at DCC.
Okay, there you
It
go.
would be one of those.
Whereas I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, like when you're trying to get in at a place like Backdoor and you've got these 20-year veterans, hopefully somebody's been like, hey, Vinny, cut that out. This,
sure.
trim that. Like, this is what's killing you. Stop that. Just cut that
yeah.
out. This is waste, blah, blah, blah. Or get to the point or something, And now you got a lot of new people and you don't have these 20, 30-year comics giving that feedback, even if it's brutal, because what I noticed is when I waited tables, it was very similar. I waited tables when I was, early 20s, and there were people there who were waiting tables as a career. Like they've been waiting tables for this long, and it wasn't by choice. This is how they had to make their money, And so when I showed up, they would give you that healthy criticism where they're like making fun of you and talking shit, but it was, they're trying to help you, right? So it's like you're walking through and they're like, you're never going to make any money moving that slow. Like, you're fucking slow. You need to like walk faster with a purpose. And like, they'd give you these tips, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, after my first week, I'm making more money. And then like a couple months in, I'm making way more money. And then now that I'm like a year in, I'm making a ton of money because these veterans gave me all the tips on how to, like, even if it's a shitty table, like how you can turn it around, and like, or if it's somebody who usually like cheaps out on the tip or something, how you can like win them back. And it's like, should you have to do these things? No, but I want to make money. I'm here to make money, right? And when the pandemic hit, I think all those people, same thing. They're like, restaurants are closed, blah, blah, blah. I gotta finally get something else, whatever that is. And then when everything reopened, there were none of these veteran people, even in like management positions at restaurants, because so many closed, and then they had to like flash rehire everybody in a month or two whenever things opened up. And so there was nobody to just train them. So like they don't know that they're not very good at it because nobody was there to show them the right way. And we're just in this weird, even though it's only been 6 years, it's like we're going to have to wait for people to become like 10, 15, 20-year veterans at these things again, so that then when the newcomers come in, you can actually train them. There's nobody training them, And that's why like so much service sucks right now, because all the people, usually there'd be like one or two new people, and they would get trained up by the rest of the crew pretty fast, or they would just quit because they're never going to make it. And that doesn't happen now. Now it's like, 50% of your staff is new because everybody's just trying to get a job, and times are tough, and these businesses are just trying to keep the doors open and get somebody in there because they got to serve tables.
Yeah.
The amount of restaurants we went to, even in like 2023 or 4, where you think we're out of the pandemic, and you would go in and they'd be like, we have tables, we just don't have servers. So you'd see like 5 open tables. Well, can we just sit there and wait? We just don't have anybody serving over there. And we're like, well, we can be patient. And they're like, they're already like pretty in the weeds, You're like, okay, all right. So I can understand how they hired all these people we need a body. I got to get somebody in here. Mm-hmm. But I never thought about that happening in the comedy world, where you'd get all these newcomers, but a lot of your veterans who would do like the professional hazing that makes you better just aren't showing up.
Yeah, and like I can't do that because they're like, didn't you just start also? It's like, so like, I'm like, well, just let them be. I don't give people any advice. I give one bit. If anybody ever asks me advice, I only tell them one thing. But like,
you just don't like giving advice.
It's just like, what am I going to tell you, to smile more, to like, not hold the microphone stand or something, like.
I think it's good to have someone who maybe you don't tell people how to do it, but I think it's probably good to reaffirm.
I'll reaffirm
when things go poorly. Like, that one was rough,
yeah, for sure.
Because there's so much of that, like, you killed it. It was great. It was awesome.
There's that toxic positivity.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
think having a professional, healthy criticism of like, that was a tough one.
And so sometimes like Niaz won't be able to like host the Bebop, and so like I'll run it. I'll host it. I'll be there tonight. And my announcements, I'm like, listen, just be cool. Don't be hack. Save the hack shit for hyenas. This is not that shit. We don't do that here.
Yeah.
And then like I've had like people say things and tell a joke that's like, they're like a new comic, but you can like tell that that's like almost a word for word Bo Burnham joke.
Right.
And so like I get on the mic and I'm like, give it up for this guy doing his best Bo Burnham impression like that. So it's just like, and there's a vibe shift whenever I'm the host at the Bebop, but it's like I just don't like when I started doing comedy, like that stuff would get like called out, and we would kind of relegate those people to the sides. And I see a lot of this toxic positivity where it's like people just kind of like, oh, the fact that you're doing it must mean that you're good,
right?
You know, and
you're so brave for getting up here.
Yeah.
Which you are, I
guess.
But come on,
yeah. So I mean, because I was 3 years into comedy before I even got a social media. You know, I just wanted to get good before I even thought about like promoting myself.
Yeah,
and that's just not the culture anymore. That's just not how things are. You know, now people just, as soon as they start, they want to get on shows.
Yeah.
And like kind of have their digital identity kind of legitimize what they think is going on in their head. Like, I'm not a comedian. I just play one in real life.
Right.
And I you know, I don't like to pop anybody's balloon or anything, but it's just, I'll just say, like, I just like to reward people who are here for work. Like, you can just tell the people who are here who are not here for work. Like, you know, going to an open mic, it's like, you know, you clock in, you do your jokes, you take it seriously. I hope, you know, you're working on new stuff. If you're doing old stuff, you're changing something, an embellishment, a pause, an impregnated pause, or an eyebrow raise somewhere, you know.
Yeah, because if you're sucking but you're trying, it's like you can't teach. It's hard to teach someone how to work hard at something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can have a shitty skill, but if you're a hard worker, like if you're really pushing it, it's like, okay, there's still hope.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But if
there's a comic that shows up at the Bebop that like he shows up every single week, and he commits, and I'll tell you, that goes a long way too. Whenever I started like reframing what it means to bomb, two things I started reframing: like sets were no longer good or bad. They're either productive or unproductive. So, you know, if nobody was laughing or whatever, it's like, okay, but was it productive? Like, did you get anything out of it? Did you squeeze that new joke in? Did you do that eyebrow raise that you said you were going to do? Did you impregnate that pause as long as you thought about you know?
Yeah. Was
it productive or unproductive? And then the other one, what was the other one I just said?
I don't remember. Sorry, I was locked in listening to productive, unproductive. But you're just talking about how you reframed what it means to kind of just...
Oh, to bomb. Yeah, a bomb to me is not... A lot of comics where they you know, they define a bomb as like nobody's laughing. And that's a bomb is not whenever nobody's laughing. A bomb is like whenever you can see the comic decommitting on stage. Whenever you can see that nobody's laughing is getting to them. Then they're bombing. If they're still out there performing as if it's a 500-seat theater and they're crushing, that's not a bomb in my eyes. Like that person's destined for greatness at some point, you know?
Yeah.
I would love to get them on a Cowabunga show at some point. Because I know that that silence just doesn't affect them like that. And I'm not saying that you know, you don't want laughs or anything, but like there's moments that what affected how I view who can succeed at the Cowabunga shows, because I want people to succeed, you know. I don't want to throw people on there and have it go bad, because I've seen it go bad for some people who bit off more than they could chew, who thought they, you know, approached me asking to do time there, and I was like, all right, man, we're gonna try, you know. I see it, but it's like I got a feeling it's not, but I just want you to know that this is why not. And then they go and do it and kind of prove my point, and it's because they can't power through that bomb, you know. They can't, like, the silence gets to them, and then you can see it affecting them on stage, and then it's like, oh, now you're bombing. You weren't bombing, but now you are. It plays into the idea of, like, you know, if I have a great joke that works, you know, 99 times out of 100, and it doesn't work that one time, is it a bad joke? Or was that a good joke wasted on a bad crowd? You know? And that's why I don't like to, like, look at comedy almost like it's not, I don't think of it as an art or as so much like a craft, because I don't know, what do you think? Comedy's subjective? I hear people say comedy's subjective a lot. And to me, comedy is objective. People are either laughing or they're not.
Yeah.
It's either a 1 or a 0. You may not like it. I may not like it.
At the very least, too, maybe it's not laughter, but you're at least getting some reaction.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you know, maybe it's subjective in the sense that they don't find this this topic funny, but I bet you're still getting a reaction out of them rather than just boredom and nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
But that goes back to the compelling thing.
Yeah,
Like at the
yeah,
very
yeah.
least, I mean, I remember so many times driving home, like when I first started comedy, when I was just like, well, at least I was compelling.
Right.
You know, I wasn't funny,
You know,
but at least everybody was quiet listening to everything I had to say the entire time.
Groans are better than, you know, silence, right? Like, oh, like,
Yeah.
you know, like at least they're, you know, and you can work with that. Like you can turn that around potentially. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that, you know,
But the toxic positivity of just like, you know, oh yeah, you did it. You're you know,
I don't like
you're
it.
a comic, so it's just like, yeah, you're ready for this. It's like we're gonna throw you in the deep end here, and it might affect your opinion of me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I hate talking like this because I'm not a performer as a comic, but you know, I've been a performer as a musician, and it's like, you know, I'd like to think I'm an ambitious person that likes to take things on and understands that there are risks and rewards all around any type of project you're doing like this. So if you're approaching comedy like that toxic positivity, I think in your earliest stages when you're just trying to get the nerve to do it, great. But I think you got to quickly shake that off if you want to be taken seriously, and you've got to be so objective. And I think you've got to accept if you're a year in, 2 years in, you're not ready for most things, and that's okay. You know, you're like you said, you didn't do your social media till 3 years in, right? Mm-hmm. There's something to be said, you know, about craft, skill, whatever you want to call it. Like, you got to find out who you are. I mean, we were even talking about like my kid's school teacher, you know, that they're only a couple years into teaching. And it's like, they're going to be a great teacher. This seems like a person who's committed, enjoys what they're doing. But you can still feel at times that they're probably experimenting and figuring out what kind of teacher they're going to be, you know? And being a comic seems like it's that way too. Like, what is your voice? What is your presence? What is your cadence? How, you know, are you this person who's a little more rapid? Are you a little more slow? And you're probably not going to find these things out until you have so many reps under your belt, because each audience is a little different, each room's a little different, and there's no like quick study guide, right? Like, yeah, you can do classes and read books to give you
Comedy Bible, Judy Carter.
You can get a blueprint of in situations this is successful, right? But you as the individual, like your voice and what you are making funny, I don't think you're going to find that until you get so many reps under your belt, right? Serious ones, like you said, productive ones. I think that's a great way to phrase it. Like, did you just try the same thing with the same everything 50 times over this however many months, not changing a thing? That does seem pretty unproductive, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of value in just accepting that it's not good and, you know, raising that bar. Like, I think if you set the bar high for people are very capable of achieving that if they want to. You know, if they want to do it, they'll do it. So if you're telling them like, hey, this is not great, you're losing them here all the time, something's got to change. You're not telling them how to do it, but you're just giving them that real feedback of like, this, and this, tonight at least, didn't work at all. And it seems like it might not work ever. So work on that. And if you can work on that, it's like, yeah, if you're at the Bebop open mic and you're getting solid feedback, then it's like, yeah, from this open mic, you could build something that gets you a little 5-minute spot at Cowabunga someday. But how seriously are you taking it? You know, and I think by setting that bar, that's way more important than toxic, you know, positivity and like inclusion. Like, come on down, we'll put you on, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I think it's wise to be like, no.
And I get that
You're
from like
not
a
ready.
club standpoint, because ultimately they see those people as customers.
Sure.
That's just all biz. So it's like, yeah, why wouldn't we want everybody to feel like they're like
But you're not
the best here?
But you're not doing them any favors.
No, and you're doing the scene a disservice too, which
You're screwing your club too, because those patrons that are not in the comedy scene, the ones you want to sell tickets to, they're coming in and going, what is this shit?
Yeah.
We paid like $20 or whatever, and like we had to pay the meter to park down here, you know, and like, and then there's a 2-item minimum. And it's like, you know, I'm in this thing for like 50, 60, $70 now, and these people suck, you know? And so you're shooting yourself in the foot. Whereas if you held that standard so high, the people who can't take it, they're going to fall off. It doesn't matter. They were never committed anyway, right? And then the people who love it, they will rise to that occasion. You know, they'll get excited. They'll see the carrot at the stick, but they'll realize it's reachable if I put the effort in. And I think it's just like nervous nervous energy. I want to tell them they did great because I want to hear that I'm great. It's like, don't do that either. Like, you both suck, and that's okay.
It's like
that's okay.
IRL version of like the Instagram post.
Yes.
Where it's like, let me make sure that it looks like there's people here and say that this guy's killing in front of us. So there's like at the back of the silhouette of like 3 people's head.
And like, look, you can keep that facade up as long as you want, but the paying audience member is going to be what you were saying, 100% objective. They don't know you. They don't care to be your friend, and they're totally fine walking by you on the way out, talking to their friend, going, "This show fucking sucked."
Oh yeah,
and like, which one do you want to hear? Do you want to hear it from a peer telling you need to get better, or do you want to hear it from the audience on that show you weren't ready for?
Yeah,
I mean, I think you got to raise it. I think the scene's going through a. You've probably seen more than me, but it seems like there's been a wave or two where you get like very serious people who don't listen to that crap, and then you get people who are like, yeah, we're all awesome, and then some of those fade out, and then you get very serious people again, and it just kind of mixes in and out, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I guess that's natural.
Yeah, but like you said, any program that has a school, you run the risk of being too much of that because you like take the next class, the next level.
Yeah, and it becomes like a pay for play kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like,
then they start holding competitions, and then who's the advantage there?
I like that a competition can give you like a credit to help you do whatever, but can you make comedy a competition? Can you really?
Oh, they do.
I know you do.
I'll tell you who ran.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you really say
I can
your
tell you,
comedy's better than that comedy?
Cody Swindell ran a competition last summer called Joke Master. And for my money, I was a judge on it. Me and Zach Webb, and then there would be like a guest sometimes. For my money, that was the like best form of like finding out who the best comedian in that competition was.
What was the difference of that one versus
it wasn't just
others?
like do your set, each like week and do like a 3-minute set, a 5-minute set, a 10 minutes. It wasn't just like that. Like it was like the Ink Master show. So there was like prompts. So like the first week it was like your tight 5 because it was like everybody who's in the competition. So it's like they're it's 15 people or whatever doing their tight 5.
Yeah.
You would the next week we come back, it's like the crowd work night or whatever. The next week we knock off 3 from there. The next week we come back, it's like pull things from a bucket or dirty night. Be who was as dirty as possible. And so there was all these things, and then finally at the end it was like a 10-minute set or whatever. That it whittled it down.
Was the 10 you could do whatever you wanted, like your material? Or
Yeah,
was it
basically
okay.
at the end. Yeah, And
so you start with your material, then we're going through prompts, and if you make it that far, you can end with your material.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if I mean I was a very diligent note taker and a note giver whenever I was like the judge on these. I was paying attention to everything. I had like a timer. I was counting like laughs per minute. When people would get pops. Stuff like and it was just so well run, and it was a big laugh. Swindell, he does a great job of like explaining it better than I can, but Carrie Coultrip ended up like winning it. But that's how I like learned about like Brett Harper Jennings for the first time. She was awesome. She did a set at our last week's Cowabunga. She's about to move back to San Francisco.
Oh, she is?
Yeah. It was her birthday last Wednesday too.
We did an interview on here, but we never released it.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was great. Like no hard feelings. I think she's awesome, but she has a career, and I think she just got worried that things could be said on here that could work. And I told her, I was like, I don't think you could say anything that's crazy, but like, last thing I want is my podcast episode to cause you any like real life problems. But no, she was great. But I was bummed because she's super funny, and I feel like she's got angles that other people aren't hitting in her act. And I was just excited to, I wanted to release that conversation just for people to see like a different side of this comedy scene, because she has her own little flavor that is very fun, and her blend of being from San Francisco, living in Oklahoma, now living in Texas. Like, we don't get to talk to a lot of people who move from a place like San Francisco to Oklahoma, and you don't think of someone from San Francisco, the Bay Area, having culture shock. And she did, she had culture shock from moving, and it's like, Yeah, you forget that it happens the other way. It's not just like country bumpkins moving to the city and having their mind blown about things. And
that makes sense because she's like a self-professed like nervous person on stage.
Yes.
So she was nervous about this podcast.
Well, yeah, and she was kind. I don't have.
Oh, she's so great.
If she ever
I
wants to
love
come back on, the door is open. She was very sweet and nice, and I think she's super.
But that's how I met her for the first time through that competition. She made it all the way to the finals, and I was like, she didn't win it, but I was like, I would like to offer you a set on our next month's Cowabunga. Like that was incredible. I've seen what you've done for this past month every week. Like, so
I'm bummed to hear she's moving back.
I love,
She's like some comics like that. You think like, boy, this is an asset that you moved to our scene, and you're a part of it now. So it feels like you're losing an asset now, letting like you traded a player away.
It does feel like that. So hopefully we get a good one in return. But
yeah, right.
It might take some while, but
yeah.
But that joke master. If you're next time you see Cody Swindell,
does he do it annually?
I would hope he brings it back annually.
If it was that good, Big Laugh is definitely going to bring it back, right? I mean, they're building their own. It seems like they're building their own group of people over there. I don't know. I know they've had some bumps in the road in the past, but it's still there.
Yeah, but without revealing. No,
don't do it. And I like Big Laugh. Like I want that place to succeed. I want the rooms to do well and comics.
Oh yeah, this was not about Big Laugh.
Oh okay. But I didn't know Cody was doing. Cody's weird to me. I love Cody, but it's weird seeing people that, like, objectively, he seems like a very lazy person.
Yeah,
but he's very driven.
Yeah, ex-military,
lazy and motivated at the same time.
Yeah,
it's very hard. I cannot understand that energy sometimes, as much as I like him.
Yeah, I mean, he was wearing a suit for all the the rounds.
Oh, he was?
He was like really like treated this really, really like seriously. Yeah. Like he gave it. He wore a suit. We did our draft for the tournament.
Yeah,
he wore a suit to the draft.
Yeah, wow.
A lot of people wore suits actually. It kind of snowballed into like a bigger thing.
Well, he was just on your last Cowabunga show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to come see that set because he's one of the ones I only get to watch maybe like once every 8 months or something, just because our schedules don't ever sync up. And it's just been fun watching him progress. Just his act, the way he performs, everything. He's just growing.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really interesting. Like, I think he knows how to be funny and he knows how to write a good act. How long do you think he's been doing it now? I can't remember. 5 years? Like he's not.
Yeah,
maybe
like five.
New.
Maybe like 5 or 6 years.
He's
probably.
not new, but he's definitely. Like I feel like guys in his phase, comics in his phase, you know what you're doing. You can make a crowd laugh. There's no doubt about that. Now I wonder what is going to be just undeniably Cody Swindell comedy. Just his version of all this. Like I don't know that he's really found just his distinct voice yet. Because he's just doing comedy. So like the first couple years, you're just learning how to be funny, right? And like premises and how that works. I think guys like him between that 5, 10, I don't know, maybe even 15-year mark, just something's going to click one day and it's going to hit them that like, whoa, this is me.
Yeah.
And now I got it. And
then,
And I think he's going to be pretty great. But
dude, it took me a while before I was like, just like leaning into who I was on stage.
Yeah.
Like it took and just like extenuating circumstances in the world. And I was like, I've seen what you people like reward. So like,
isn't that Rick and Morty? Your boos don't bother me. I've seen what you cheer for.
It's exactly like that. Yeah, it's exactly like yeah. You people have like no morals. Like these people ought to be like tarred and feathered. Like at the very least, calling them the R word.
I've watched you in a lot of different environments, and you know who you are now. And I think the last time I saw you, where I was wondering how the crowd was going to take you, because you're one of those where I don't know if they're always going to love you or not. Like you've done so many shows, you know how to work the crowd the way you want to. But I think it was it the Next Stop show at Petticolas? Did you do one of those?
Yeah, those were great. Oh, I do remember you being there.
Yeah. And that crowd is. I was just like, I wonder how this crowd's going to take Vinny. Just like I wonder how are they going to get on board with Zach Webb? Just unique styles that are totally different.
Sure.
And but I do always love your full commitment to like you very much know who you are, and you're not interested in changing that. You like being you and performing your comedy the way you want to perform it, and it works. It wins them over. you know?
Well, I mean, what choice do you have? I mean,
Exactly.
am I going to be somebody else? You know.
I think it's hard for people to accept that, though. Like, because, you know, you want to be like the comic that you love. You're inspired by that person, right? When you're newer.
I guess, yeah.
When you're newer, you're inspired. You're more of a independent person than a lot of these other people, you know? So it's like, if you love Bill Burr, you're naturally going to have those tendencies, I bet, right?
Sure.
And trying to accept that, you know, the only way you would ever have, if your dream was just to be famous and successful at comedy, right? You got to be something that's totally different than all the things you love. It's got to be just uniquely you if it's going to work. You know?
I would say that my guy who got me into comedy was Dimitri Martin, probably.
There you go.
Obsessed with Dimitri Martin in like middle school and high school.
Yeah.
I just thought he was like so funny, so smart, and just like
Yeah.
didn't sacrifice intelligence for like being silly, you know, just like a great marriage of both.
Full commitment to his quirky,
Yeah.
unique self. And it's like, how many times do you think someone probably told him, like, hey, this act isn't going to...
Yeah, lose the notepad.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, but, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's why I'm fortunate for a place like Fillmore too, because I can be pretty divisive on stage at Fillmore, and you know, I have no problem like yelling at people on stage and, you know, calling them cunts and, you know, calling them retarded, and I feel lucky that like a venue like that hasn't like stepped in and been like, hey, some of these people actually are retarded. Some of these people do vote Republican, so maybe like cool it.
I mean, you know, look, you came out to a bar at a comedy show. You got to be able
that's
to...
ultimately what it is, because
You got to be able to handle...
Comedian makes absurd statement is what the headline is going to turn into.
Yeah.
And like these people like are turning into the snowflakes that they like accused, you know,
and
these
it's
other
like-
people of being for so long.
It's like, look, we're friends. If we talk long enough, you and me are going to have differences in political opinions. Am I going to get all bent out of shape because Vinny doesn't like my viewpoint? Or am I going to be like, we're both adults. Sometimes you disagree, and that's fine. You know, it's like the amount of comedy I've watched where, and the other things you're right. It's like, I don't even have to agree with your political viewpoint to go, but that's a funny joke. Like, that was a funny take on the thing that he's ripping on me about.
That
Like,
I've had
roll
people
with the punches.
That's people have come up to me and been, man, I gotta tell you, I hate your views on just about everything, but that Kyle Rittenhouse joke was one of the funniest things I ever heard.
It was funny.
I mean, they were like,
It was funny.
Thanks, dude.
You know,
But
and-
I've had like people come up to me after the show too, because I don't just, you know, I don't like to just like make them think one thing. Like I've had some guy, he came up and he was like, dude, it's so refreshing to hear a funny conservative comedian finally. And I was like, what part? And he was like, that vaccine joke you did.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay.
But that's the other part, right? Like, everybody's views on what is a conservative, a liberal, a progressive, a crazy MAGA person, like, it's all a little different anyway, you know? And it's just not worth, to me anymore, it's like, I don't care. It's like, if something's really insane, I can be really opinionated about it. But, you know, I just think all of politics is screwing all of common man and stealing our money and fucking us over. And like, we could be living in just a beautiful society if we just trim the fat out of both parties aggressively. You know what I mean? Because like ultra conservative, ultra liberal, you just want to live a happy, safe life where you can get something productive out of this world for yourself. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm down with that. You know, if that's going and living in a cabin in the wilderness for you, or if that's living in this crazy free urban environment, you know, it's like whatever, but like, let's just find a way where we make it work, and don't be so shitty if somebody just disagrees with you.
I think people are starting slowly coming along to the idea of it's like, it's not right or left, it's up and down.
Yeah,
I think it's
100%.
taken them way too long to come to that conclusion. But like,
it's always that, right? It's like, and to me, it's different for everybody, right? Like, to me, the version of the up that I feel like is oppressive and is fucking everything up, to me, it's just corporate greed.
dude, that's the thing too,
Just
because it's like,
everything is, how do you get advertising data about
Yeah.
people, and how do you sell them shit?
Yeah.
And how do we mark it up more and more and more? It's rare. Like, this is one of the reasons I feel like Cowabunga succeeds, is some things need to just be done in this world because it's cool and fun. And then those things end up succeeding, you know? I'm a big Jack White fan. I think he takes a lot of bad business decisions, and then he ends up winning on them because he's like, it doesn't make much sense to do this, but I feel like it's a cool, fun idea.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Like making the records at Third Man Record, the vinyls and stuff that he does.
One of the major players of revamping the vinyl industry.
For sure.
How many jobs and careers were created within the vinyl industry, whether it's people manufacturing, maybe it's just the people making the, PVC that makes a vinyl record or something similar to that, like whatever the material is. It's like you're creating jobs in areas you don't even think about just because you thought like, wouldn't it be cool, though, if we bought, 15 old vinyl presses and we just, press some shit, And he could easily go, this vinyl craze is catching up. What if we start charging double for the manufacturing and blah, blah, blah? And they don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop. Sometimes what you're making is enough. And it's cool. And you just go, this is probably the most we'll ever make off the vinyl thing, but we're making a shitload of money and people seem to be really happy about it.
I feel like people conflate the idea of capitalism and corporatism. Whenever they talk about hating capitalism and capitalism is bad, I'm like, now, I think in Bernie Sanders' world, he's more of a capitalist than Donald Trump. In his world, there would probably be more mom and pop grocery stores, mom and pop everything.
He's closer to a free market than people want to admit.
You might have to pay a little bit more for some of this, but it's probably going to be better ultimately, better quality. Whereas these people on the right, it's not even capitalism at that point. It's corporatism. It's how can we just maximize our profit margins?
So that was one of the huge reasons I was all about Bernie when he was running, which is people who weren't in that 2016 election, if you were too young to vote or something, and whether you're conservative or liberal, I don't think they really understand how that campaign was going. And the one thing he could have done that would have changed the world for the better in America was overturn Citizens United, where corporations could not donate.
Absolutely, dude.
Because
the
look,
CPACs are crazy. You've seen the stats of the first year, how much they were donating, and this last election. Sure. It's
so if there was
disgusting.
If you're liberal, you have to come to terms with the fact that there is probably an incredible Republican candidate that you would love to meet in the middle and run this country with, but they will never have a shot because those corporate interests won't allow that. And then if you're a hardcore Republican, there's the same version of that liberal who's buried under all the corporate donors to the Democratic Party that won't let that person out into the spotlight because it'll threaten what they do. Bernie was an example of that, right? He had the votes. He had the momentum. That man probably would have been president, but he was speaking out against, the big banks and things that were donating to the Democratic Party. So your donors step in and are look, you got to get him out. This ain't going to work, And so whether or not you liked Bernie Sanders, you should hate that process. You should respect that he was trying to get rid of corporate donors in your politics. And the fact that no one is talking about that right now who runs for any of these major offices tells you just how much of a grip these corporations have on every law that's being made in this country right now. And that's the true, that's what's fucking everything up. That's why you can't get more affordable products. That's why you can't have easier systems in place to just live.
And they lose sight of what their mission statement was. Like McDonald's isn't in the food business anymore. They're in the real estate business. They're just trying to gobble up as much property as possible.
The viral thing of him not being able to eat his chicken sandwich or burger or whatever it was. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's there you go. You got some stuffy corporate nerd who never even eats the burger because they're only here about real estate and quarter-to-quarter earnings, right? And shareholders, which is a whole other thing. It's just don't take your company public, and you'll probably be a great company. Buc-ee's is a great example.
Hey, Beaver Applin.
Right?
Took his daughter to prom.
You did?
Yeah, he's from my hometown. The first Buc-ee's
that's
is
right.
from Lake
I forget
Jackson.
You're from South, yeah.
Lake Jackson, yeah.
But, they openly say on their website, we're not going to franchise because we know quality will drop. All right? So it's love or hate Buc-ee's. You got to respect that, we're running it the way we want to run it, and it's becoming successful. Mm-hmm. And sure, it's a slow, we could have grown faster and made even more money if we had started franchising or went public or whatever, but we're still making a fuck ton of money, even though it took a little longer. Now it's undeniable the profits they're making. And, you got to just get rid of this endless, you can't endlessly increase your profits. Inevitably,
dude. I mean, but they're just gonna make you pay more and you get less.
Yeah, because
they
inevitably
want you to own nothing, and it's just
there's only so much you can make. Then you start cutting quality.
Yeah.
So now I'm paying too much for the product that fucking sucks.
like I saw like Amazon streaming, like they're just like increasing the prices,
Yeah,
but
and
they're
we're
gonna
getting-
take away the 4K,
and we're getting
it's like
advertisers
ads
now,
and
yeah.
it's just like so I'm paying more, I'm getting less. Dude, we canceled all of our streaming service, not even for price things. I noticed that they were like tinkering with stuff. They're tinkering with like content. Okay, there's like you seen Remember the Titans?
Yes.
So remember the Titans. There's a part where like Sunshine's like in the locker room and he like tries to kiss like Gary Batir. I think.
Yeah.
And they take that out of like the Disney Plus movie. They take that whole scene out, but they still leave in like a couple scenes later when
Yeah.
Gary Batir's like, "Oh yeah, like whenever you tried to kiss me earlier in the locker room," and you're watching it, you're like, "Wait."
Yeah,
Wait, did that happen?
that's missing.
Yeah,
Well, and, like-
stuff like that. But the one that really like I was like kind of jaw dropped. I was showing my wife 30 Rock. Mm-hmm. We were rewatching 30 Rock, and it was on Amazon. And I love 30 Rock. It was like my show in high school. I mean, I just watched so much 30 Rock, and I it's one of those shows where I just know all the lines. You know, so we were getting to one part in season 2 whenever Kenneth's like trying to invite everybody to his like party, and nobody wants to go because they're always like lame. So, but he ends up cornering Jack and Liz at the elevator, and he gives the invitations, and Liz is like, "Fine, I'll go to your party." And Jack's like, "I have too much respect for you to lie to you, Kenneth. I'm not coming to your party. What I will be doing is watching some German pornography and, ironically, listening to some Wagner." Okay, that's what they said. Okay, we were rewatching it on Amazon Prime. They change it to I can't come to your party, Kenneth. I'll be watching some Canadian pornography and ironically listening to some Schubert. And it's just like little things like that.
That one doesn't even make sense. Why would you?
I mean, there's like some anti-Semitic undertones with the Wagner thing, you know,
Yeah,
Ride
but-
of the Valkyries and
I mean, yeah,
German pornography.
but like,
that was what was ironic about it.
yeah,
because
I mean,
so
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, that seems like such a big, like the type of person who's watching 30 Rock is going to be fine.
Yes, but it's stuff like that where it's just like I don't.
Whose
I don't
input
get
was
down
this
with
and
it.
what's their
'Cause
agenda?
that sounds like some of these like Mandela effect things. They're probably real.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that actually happened, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not unlike what has happened to the Bible, where it's just gone through so many translations,
Mm-hmm.
and they went to the king to proofread, and then he's like, "Oh, take this part about unicorns. Nobody's gonna believe that." And I was like, "Okay, king, we'll do this."
Yeah.
And it's gone through like 25 different iterations before it's the Bible that we know now. That same that's what's gonna happen to 30 Rock.
Right.
it's
Right.
gonna get
Yeah,
and
and
so we canceled all of our streaming. I just go to Half Price Books. I throw $100 down. I get like 20 DVDs.
We were just talking about going back to DVDs, and it's for that too. It's like it's not even that I'm bothered that you're switching streaming services all the time, but
I just want to own it. It's mine
Well,
now.
and-
Nobody can take it away.
and it's the same with music, right? It's like an album on Spotify might change a few times. The track listing of a, like if I bought the CD back in the day, it's like that is how you released it. It wasn't the remastered. It wasn't, oh, we added this track or pulled that track. There's some Spotify.
Went in, cleaned up the hi-hat here, post or whatever.
Exactly.
So,
And it's like, give me I want the thing the way the artist put it out the first time, not whoever's version of this bullshit. And then again, like, what is the agenda of changing? What was the first example you gave?
Remember the Titans.
Yeah. It's like, okay, whose agenda is this that you're changing that? And like, if just don't have the whole movie on if that's your agenda. Right? Like, skip the whole movie or have the whole movie. Don't fuck with it.
Yeah, yes.
If you want, like Walmart used to censor all of their CDs. And if you're taking that stance and it's openly known that you're taking that stance, then you can choose to shop there and buy the censored one or not, right? I think it's lame, but I don't have a problem with it. But to if Walmart was like secretly editing lyrics instead of just putting the weird blank space in, like you at least knew it was being edited and you're like, oh, it's the censored version.
yeah, I don't get down with that.
That's weird. I'll have to pay attention to that because you're not going to notice.
No, because it's always subtle enough that
What bothered me about Netflix, and like, I don't care if you're trans, gay, but I don't give a shit if you're purple or whatever. Just be cool, right?
I see a big butt coming over the hill here.
It's weird to me. I got to look up the title because it's a real movie and it sounds so fucking fake. It might have even happened in real life, but I don't know. It was a coal miner.
Is it just too inclusive?
It's just, it seems like, I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase it.
Is it like a trans coal miner?
Yes. Hold on. Yeah. It was just even like, okay, it's called Queen of Coal. It was released in 2025 on Netflix. It says it's based on the true story, but it was the way it was titled or something. It was like so-and-so being kept out of their dream of being a coal miner or something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's your dream to be a coal miner. I don't know. Who might have judged?
Yeah,
but
maybe that's Loretta Lynn or something.
I don't know. But it just seems like you're touching this story up to really sell it hard.
Yeah.
And like, this is like...
Have you seen the list of requirements to be considered for an Oscar movie now?
That's my point. Or like
it's insane.
I was talking to Pazvar. And look, I'm not like... I guess I'm an old liberal, right? We were talking about like... Well, I'm not going to say that. But we were talking about the differences of like...
You're a 90s liberal.
I'm 90s, 2000s liberal.
Yeah.
Where I feel like, yeah, I don't...
You're a South Park liberal.
Yeah. Like, first of all, I'm not going to get offended. And second of all, I don't care unless someone's really being hurt or something. You know, like, because even if you are very different, I think you need to identify that you're different, and that's fine. Your life's going to be different. And there's going to be things that are just unfair sometimes to you, just like for us, things are unfair all the time. Like life is just unfair. And there's like, I think it was really wrong that you didn't allow gay people to be married. And that needed to be changed because to me, that's a very human right of like, if you're in love with each other and this is a serious relationship, how do you think that that's any different than a straight, like, you're talking about the sanctity of marriage, but I can go to Vegas right now and marry like a whore on a whim, and that's like totally allowed, but you're not going to let two gay people get married. Well, okay, it's not about the sanctity then. This is bullshit, blah, 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 right? So I'm down with correcting a wrong. Mm-hmm. But I think it goes so far when you're like demanding that everything cater to you, because like no human being has that, right? Straight, gay, trans, whatever you are, it's like the world's never going to 100% bend to your needs. That's just life. And so I think sometimes it just feels like you're just trying so hard to make it perfect, realizing like it'll never be perfect. We're all just trying our best here, you know? And like if the intentions are good, maybe cut people some slack, right? Like pronouns, right? It's like, you know if someone's insulting you and you know if someone just doesn't have a clue, and that's a big difference, right? And so, you know, show a little grace with people. Like, if someone's calling you sir or ma'am and it's wrong, but they're politely speaking to you and they're treating you with respect in every other aspect of the interaction, it's like, just overlook them.
Yeah.
Cut them all slack. Be cool, you know? And to me, that was the more 90s, 2000s.
Bill Burr's got that great bit where he's...
Oh, he does? I need to watch it.
He's talking about... how people treat them differently if you're a man and you cut your beard off, and they're like, "What the hell?" It's like, yeah, you're cutting your balls off. You don't think I'm gonna have need a little grace period to adjust?
Thank you. Yeah, same thing. Like I'll give you a good, and plus I feel like it cheapens it, right? Same with the toxic positivity. It's like, look, there are real problems that need to be addressed all the time. Okay, and if we're making up all these little tiny problems, we're not getting to these real problems. And if we fix the real problems, a lot of your small problems just kind of fall in place and you can forget about, it sorts itself out, in my opinion. Did you see the new Canadian LGBTQ additions?
Additions to what?
To LGBTQ.
Oh, no.
Okay. I just want to read them to you. You don't have to react.
I know it was LGBTQIA something.
Sorry for previous listeners. I talked about this with Michael Pasvar, who was very uncomfortable because he doesn't like talking about these things, Like he's a nice guy.
He's closeted.
Okay. Here we go. This is real. Canada. MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+.
Seems easy enough to remember.
Okay. And that stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit Individuals alongside... Yeah, and they put that alongside the broader thing, the broader stuff, LGBTQI. What is the whole thing, though? I don't want to miss it. Which is like, look, Pasvar had a very nice comment. He's like, if adding that in helps this person in some way, then what's the harm? And it's like, yeah, I agree. It's not like harm. Like, I'm not I'm not really bothered. I don't care, I guess. It's do whatever you want to do. But yeah, like by grouping in missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls to the gay and lesbian community, I don't understand how that's helping either community. It's like we're cluttering, right? Rather than going like, whoa, no, that missing and murdered Indigenous, that's a serious thing. I feel like let's keep that separate and really work on that.
Yeah, I just like sucking dick. I mean,
yeah, like just like it's weird to me that you include trans people with LGBTQ, right? Because it's like
I think a lot of
trans is different.
L and G
Yeah.
are not super psyched that the T is included.
Trans is different than gay and lesbian, and what's wrong with saying, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's this like
well, when we were growing up, it was just LGB.
right,
Yeah,
right.
So it wasn't, it took a while for T to be normalized, and
Yeah, and that's the thing is like going through the 90s and 2000s is like being a trans person was like, whoa, that's like way out on the fringe,
It was, but for some reason I feel like they were less, targeted than us.
Because 90s, 2000s people didn't give a shit. You were also allowed to just be like, yeah, I mean, it's fucking weird, but they, they're nice.
Yeah, he shows up to work on time.
Yeah, it's like, Fred paints his nails, but hell of a machinist, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And Fred was also like, yeah, I mean, I know they don't get it.
And it just gets like weaponized by like,
Yes,
people,
maybe that's a good way to-
people on the right,
Yeah.
because they don't have any other substance, so they have to like manufacture hysteria about some trans kid trying to play volleyball in a city you've never been to. So it's like, come on, is it worth
I think everyone
owning the libs for that?
you got to get rid of that, right? You got to get rid of I used to laugh so hard. Do you know Jordan Klepper?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
He'd go to those field pieces.
Yeah, and like, look, I'm guilty.
Just let him talk.
I loved those, right? I loved showing off the idiotic opinion of whatever voter for whatever overly committed thing they're into. But now either side, I can't really stand it because I'm like, we're just like, we're making it worse. Like we're fucking it up for all of us because we just need more of that, like relax, listen and understand a little, and then agree to disagree. Don't try to force this. Don't try to force that. Just be a little more cool about it.
We have different approaches.
I know.
I'm like,
I
we
know.
need to tar and feather these people in the streets.
I don't think it's going to do it though, because
we need to, at the end of what is not Django, at the end of Inglourious Bastards, and he's marking them. We got to do shit like that.
Okay, well, look, you're a smart guy. Let me feel you out on this. If we, I don't know, I get conflicted because I think about other things where you go all out like that, right? Like, so you'll hear these things of like, in this country, if you're a thief, they'll chop your hand off, right?
Yeah. If you litter.
Has that stopped all theft and all littering? I don't know.
Is the goal to stop it all, or is the goal to minimize it?
That's a fair point. I mean,
have seatbelts saved all lives, or have they minimized it?
That's a good point. I'm very pro seatbelt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Well, what do you think? Tar and feathering, like,
it's just shame. There hasn't been shame.
Do you think you can shame them into changing an opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you absolutely can. I
don't know how I feel
think
about
in the
it.
90s, 2000s, like, people would have those opinions, but you wouldn't dare say them out loud because there was a sense of shame. There was like, oh, I'm not going to. But now because of the internet, you can just go online to like find a community of people with like the same,
really validate your
views that you have, and you're like, oh, I have a community now. All this is normalized. Like, I'm not the only one that has that. Like, oh, now there's a hierarchy within this community. Oh, now it's spilling over into that exists because there's no shame anymore. These people are shameless, and the internet lets you be more shameless. I think because it rewards, just the worst parts of people a lot. It rewards attention. It rewards spectacle.
Yeah,
and people with shame usually don't fall into those categories,
Yeah, but then people are like, both sides, right? Like, you can't shame this overly liberal person. You can't shame this overly conservative person. Where it's like, when you go to both those ends, the opinions are wild.
Yeah,
right?
but one of those ends is like, I just want to get, free health care for everyone. And the other one is like, I want to kill black people. So
I don't think the free healthcare people are the extremes anymore. Because that's me. And the extremes call me conservative. You know, like I'm getting viewed now just because I'm aging up, and my liberal views, I'm now being told I'm a conservative. Like someone I was talking to was like, "Oh no, you're liberal, but you're not progressive." I was like, "What? Okay." I was like, but when I'm talking about issues, it's like, okay, let's break it down issue by issue, you know? And it's like, I agree about that. I disagree about this. I agree about that. And I feel like it's just losing nuance. And, I don't even know what it means to be like an extreme liberal that much. To me, that's just...
Yeah. I
think blindly following either party. So like if you're blindly following the Democratic Party and just voting for a Democrat for the sake of a Democrat, I think that's insane. Like if you're voting for Trump just because you want the love of Trump and the love of, like, you just want a Republican and he's you should still be upset.
Well, those are two different things though, because one is voting for party, one's putting party over country, the other is putting man over party.
You're right. Now we got
putting man over country.
You're right. So you know what,
even that's a false equivalency.
The
in itself.
hardcore conservatives are now viewed as not enough by like MAGA people. So you're right. You're right. Yeah, that's another extreme if you're only Donald Trump versus,
and that's the danger, because this shit always skews right. Even like, say, like, somebody like Joe Biden, which on paper his policies were, pretty center left. I mean, barely maybe center right, if we're being honest. Like he's still very much like a Wall Street Democrat.
Yeah.
So like whenever that pendulum swings, it never swings back to the left. It's always like skewing to the right, to where like eventually, like somebody with like, in 20 years, there's going to be a candidate that makes Trump look like a liberal.
Right.
And that's just the fact.
But see, I feel
that's the danger of getting anybody too much on one side, I think.
I agree with you.
But it only ever goes one side. It never goes somebody so far left that they're like, oh yeah, this guy, he's going to make, Jimmy Carter look like Stalin. It's like,
yeah, I guess I did. Yeah, they haven't. Who's our most liberal president that we've
Franklin
ever had?
Delano Roosevelt, FDR.
Yeah.
Maybe the best president ever.
I mean, so where does Bernie land on that spectrum?
He was like center left, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, center left.
Because I think that would...
He's not like a leftist. He's not like a crazy progressive...
Yeah, that was the first candidate that I think I was ever, I felt very inspired, like, we got a chance of making a big political change here, whereas before that I was just like, well, it's business as usual. They're going to pick these people. And I'm thinking, voting doesn't matter. Blah.
I fall into those traps
that was the
voting because I'm from Lake Jackson. Ron Paul pulled me out of my mother's womb. So I like feel like a real connection with like early Ron Paul, like Ron Paul 2012 stuff like that. And I just get my hopes up for the wrong candidate. Literally every single election.
Yeah, I know.
And not even like in the general one. Like I was a huge Andrew Yang guy in 2020, and I was like, man, some of the stuff he's saying, and people are like, oh, UBI, Universal Basic Income, that's crazy. What is he even talking about? Fast forward to like 6 weeks later after he dropped out of the race and COVID happened, and people were like, maybe we should start sending everybody a $2,000 check. And hey, why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, Andrew Yang was just talking. Now they're talking about the open AI guys. Like maybe we should do a 4-day work week and have everybody get paid off what we're reaping from your data that we're selling off. Maybe you should be able to get a UBI because of that. And it's like
Elon's another one that feels like that's inevitable. Like because he initially was anti-AI. And now he's like, these companies, these countries are not stopping AI. So there's no more warning saying it won't happen. It's going to, it's inevitable. We have to basically get ahead of it as well. But he's saying like, it's going to come so quickly that the only answer is universal basic income. He's like, because it's going to be so productive and so cheap to have these robots and AI do these things that you're going to have to distribute the money or none of the products will be bought, and like capitalism fails essentially.
Yeah, but that runs the risk of like that's just going to create like crazy inflation too, because if like all these corporations are just like, oh, now everybody has an extra $2,000 a month to spend. Okay, all of a sudden everything's going to get way more expensive.
You're not going to be cool enough to go like, all you need is $1,000 to live. And you get 2,000, so everybody's happy, right? They're going to go, how do we make it 2,200 that they have to spend, and we can get them some credit card debt, And look, the real answer. This is where I feel like I'm more liberal and progressive, but it's not about, maybe I just don't care about the little tiny issues of that philosophy. I'm thinking I'd like
Thinking about the working man.
maybe that's my ego. Like I'm thinking the bigger picture, like I'm smarter. I don't know. Anyway, but were you a fan of like Star Trek or Orville with Seth MacFarlane? Have you watched either of those?
No.
So these people don't make money. There's no money to be made. It's about status in the sense of like a career choice. So like if you want to be the captain of a ship, there's a path and a career that you can take, and you're only going to get there based off of merit. But things like clothes, food, education, it's just a thing you can go get. It's just the thing. And it seems like we're going to, not us, probably my children will live through the rough patch of going from money is a thing that matters to, oh, no, that's how they used to do shit, Just like, salt used to be a big currency.
Sure.
I
mean, we are at like a weird intersection of the arc where it's like
Yeah.
the old way of doing things is dying and the new way is like starting. And so we're like right here.
Yeah, because
But also historically, that's like the most dangerous places
Yes.
to be at.
Well, and it depends who's leading the change.
Well,
right?
luckily we have competent leaders in charge. So
Well, I don't think it to me it's going to be what mega business tycoon is going to lead the change. The government won't have a choice. If Elon continues with a space program the way he is, and he's being very successful with a space program, if the AI program continues, and then the robots he's talking about continues, the world's going to change so fast in 50 and 100 years that the business, I think, is going to dictate that, like, because government moves too slow. It's not agile enough to adjust with that, right? They're going to try to make laws and things. It's going to be way too slow. And these, autistic tech guys are going to outthink them. They're going to be 10 steps ahead of how to, they're going to hire the people.
That's the crux.
I'm not saying
the
it's
crux
right.
and the genius of Republicans, though, is that they campaign on that promise, the idea that government is slow,
Yeah.
the idea that government can't do anything,
Yeah.
so they obstruct for the sake of obstruction.
Yeah.
They get in there, they are slow, they don't do anything, and then they point to that as evidence and say, like, look, we told you government can't do
Yep.
anything.
I agree.
And they're absolutely right. And that's the genius of, like,
I agree.
the
But-
obstructionist philosophy, really.
So I think they're going to keep.
But we can't have these like tech oligarchs just like
But I think the
controlling
problem is
everything and creating the world in their image. Like that's
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is we're down here arguing about abortion, gun rights, blah blah blah, the hot topics, right?
are we? It's,
The
these guys got everything they wanted.
the political things. I mean, like if you're wrapped up in politics, these are the things you're arguing about, right? Whereas these large businesses, they're just quietly doing that stuff, and it's getting done while we're bickering about things that aren't going to matter to us very soon.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be you're going to be thinking like, where do I work? What are my kids going to do? Like my wife's already asking me like, what's our son going to do for like a career? Like what careers will exist? And I'm like, I don't know. It's going to change to something we can't understand. Just like our parents could never understand some of the careers that exist right now, But I think it's going to be one of the biggest shifts where, I think it's going to be something to the equivalent of like indoor plumbing and farming, which allowed people to be, to stop being nomadic, right? And create societies. A new form of society that we can't even imagine, is going to take place. And I think the best version of that would be it happens in a way where just like money's not a thing. You just go get the stuff. We're not, because if everybody's on universal basic income and you're a big business tycoon, like what is the need of making all that money anymore? Like even you making the money starts to seem irrelevant at some point, doesn't it? Like we're giving out free money to buy products from the guy who needs money, but all he has is robots. So we don't even really care about the jobs. Like at what point does it all just not make sense that money's a thing? At some point, isn't it just fake? And I mean, it's fake now. We just all buy into it.
It's just trust.
Yeah, we all buy. And so at some point, you're just like, I don't know why I need the money. Like I get the food from here and the clothes from here. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I fish because of you. I mean, it's like Chick-fil-A won't be paying me. I'll be getting my check from the government, basically.
Yeah.
Just like,
and I guess the main kicker there is like in all those films, they have a thing that they have like a 3D printer essentially that just makes the thing they need. So they'll just be like, give me, a chicken sandwich. And it just, makes a chicken sandwich. So whatever that technology is, but
Yeah, I'm trying to stay as far away from that future as possible. Like that's why.
I mean, we
That's
will.
unreal.
We will. It'll
Yeah.
move fast, but we'll still be like we'll still be able to buy. You know, we can go buy an old vehicle or something, and we'll
But
be fine. That type of stuff.
From some of the feedback I get from people at the Cowabunga shows, a lot of them are like coming out because they just like just being around humans is like so nice, and they can always like count on it. And I've from conversation I have with people after the show, I mean, they just sense that there's just so fewer options for like you know, like a third space or like you know, just like a place for I think they can sense like the AI kind of entertainment like boom, and they want to like get away from that. Like they're already like
Well, you're
burned out from it, so they want something like local and they want it real. And so like I think that helps us, like the people who are just like tired of.
It's the same reason vinyl's coming back. I just want
It's
an
like a
analog
similar thing.
experience.
Yeah.
Well, we grew up in an era of amazing third spaces, right? It's like how often could you go watch a movie when you were a kid? You know, a movie theater,
Skating rinks,
all the stuff, right? And you know, part of the reason. Okay, I just had
community pools are shutting down
Yes.
everywhere. You know,
So I just had Lana Blocker on here, who is the owner of Broadway Skateland in Mesquite, a skating rink.
cool.
And we went there, and it was like, God, this incredible experience where, you know, we went for a kid's birthday party. They weren't like ripping us off and overcharging us for all this bullshit. You know, everything's an add-on, everything's an upcharge. They weren't doing any of that. And it's still a family-run business, and it started in late 60s. And it's like her grandpa built it and opened it. Her father took it over. They leased it out for a while, and now she's taking it back over with the family. And it's like, yeah, I think those things are what make life better when you have these analog, unique experiences like that. But these massive corporations buy up all those cool things, and then they try to maximize profit and revenue and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, you know, you can't have like a cool independent restaurant anymore. It's hard to do, right? Because some big corporation owns all the spaces that you can lease, and they've got an idea of how much payment they need and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, we'll put the same thing in every strip mall because we're all working under the same thing, and it's just money, money, money. And it's like, whatever happened to just having a cool fucking restaurant?
I know when you
And, you know,
dig deep on like why the McDonald's don't look cool anymore,
Yes.
and it's just like
so they know they can revamp it if they got to put something else in there.
exactly stuff like that where it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you're just like money's just sucking the soul and the personality out of like
Yeah,
everything.
everything. And
It's like I know like China has its problems, and they're not like full like, you know, like communism. They obviously like get down with capitalism, but like I think the difference is over there they make sure like the state is above the corporations,
Right.
whereas here it's like so clearly corporations are above the state.
Yeah.
You know, so over there it's like, you know, like it's stuff as simple as like, oh, every apartment building that gets built has to have a patio for the residents. It's like it's mandated. You can't, you know, if people are going to live there, they need to have outside. It's like stuff like that where it's like they have their citizens in mind for like these decisions. And I know like the whole social credit score is like crazy, but it's like that's about to come here pretty soon too, you know?
Well, if America might be the place that can stop it if they actually believe in like, you know, freedom, going like, no, we won't. Like if I don't know. I don't like people like burning shit down in protest because I feel like it ends up getting misdirected, and then like an average person ends up losing a bunch of shit. And then I know too, like who was the guy who got mad and burned down like he burned down like a toilet paper factory or something recently?
Some of like 4 of those happened with like in a week.
So it's like, you know, the punk rock version of me, I love that because it's saying like, hey, how much money do you want to fucking lose? You know, if you want to keep behaving this way, right? But then it gets really like, I don't know if you're the piece of shit employee that deserved to be fired, or were you the good employee that they pushed too far? Because that story could go either way. And then I also know it's like, hey, you know, like when you steal from Target, it's like, yeah, I know they're insured, but guess what? The insurance companies are just passing that cost on to us. And, you know, like if whatever insurance company insures Target, but they also insure homes and cars and blah, blah, blah. All the money they just lost on Target, guess what? They're fucking adding it onto our auto policies and they're fucking us. So it's like finding a way to direct that rage and frustration in a way that doesn't come back to also screwing us over again. Because right now they're so big, they win. They just win.
I know. It's like when like protests are happening like in downtown Dallas, and it's like you're like throwing bricks at like the shoe store. It's like you should be throwing bricks at the Federal Reserve building right here. Like
my point exactly.
What are you doing?
It's like you're I understand what you're doing, but it's always pointed in the wrong spot. It's always going to be like, I've had my shop here for 15 years in Deep Ellum and I got to replace the window again. And it's like, they got insurance. Like, but they're passing that shit on to us. We're screwing ourselves. We got to find a better way. It's like, I don't like saying things like this on a microphone because I don't ever want to be accused, but it's like, if you don't like AI, it's like you don't go attack like an Apple store or something, right? It's like, what is AI? AI is a data center, right?
Yeah.
It's like you should be mad that data centers are being built. Not only are they like taking all your water and land and like light pollution and all these things that ruin whatever little countryside they put them in, but it's like it's actively building the thing that you don't want to take over the world. But then I'm guilty. Like I use it for task, and it's like, fuck, I'm part of that problem too. It is more convenient. You just wish the billionaires making AI would be like, like we're going to cure cancer, not, hey, we figured out like you can make a video with your favorite characters from this thing and they're all under the ocean or something. Like just stupid shit.
Sure. I mean, like when you think about like the turn of the century and, like the Rockefellers and the, like all those like oil barons and stuff, they were building hospitals and like schools and like, they were like contributing to society. These guys, they just like don't do that at all.
Yeah. And, like the one billionaire I'll reference a lot that I think, he's polarizing, right? All of them are polarizing, but like Mark Cuban here locally, it's like he started.
I get down with Mark Cuban.
He started the pharmaceutical. Well, there you go. But like saying like I'm a fucking billionaire, I'll start a pharmaceutical company that's more affordable. There you go.
Yes,
we're not going to destroy the current pharmaceutical business immediately, but I bet this is putting a big dent in it. And I bet 100 years from now we'll be thankful that he took this step. And, like when COVID rolled through, it's like, I'm assuming it was the American Airlines workers when they couldn't have.
He paid them all.
He's like, I'm a fucking billionaire. We'll pay your salaries, stay home. I'm going to be able to write this shit off somehow. It's fine. And even if I can't, I have several $1 billion. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And, again, that kind of Jack White philosophy of like, I view guys like Mark Cuban and Jack White very similar of where like, I'm going to do what I want. You may not like it, but it feels right to me. And what happens if you're a worker that just got your checks and was told to stay home? You changing jobs anytime soon, even when the pandemic's over? Or are you now a loyal worker where you're like, I don't know, man, Cuban took care of me. I know they're talking about giving me a raise at this other place, but this guy took care of us. Feels like I might want to stay.
Yeah.
I think if the billionaires...
He's like investing in his people. Yeah.
I think the billionaires running AI and stuff, if you made commitments to like humanity like that, like, no. I mean, like, we're not doing it so you can just...
These people hate humanity, though. These are
weird,
like these tech weirdos. Like you knew these guys in college that just had no social skills. They are on their computers all day.
It's alarming.
But now they're like top dogs, so they like, they don't care about humanity like that. I mean, they can't.
Do you remember Grandma's House or Grandma's Boy? The
yeah,
movie?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the best one I've seen where they're like. The guy who was making the video game who was like the fucking worst. Yeah. And everybody hated him. They're like, these are the AI billionaires. Okay. And the problem is, like you were talking about shame. I think I'm getting it now. Because through that whole movie, it was just shaming that asshole. Like, who would want to be like that? We all want to be like the other guy who can do all the same stuff, but is cool and chill and treats people right. And now these people are looked up to so much. Because again, it's all about like, how do I get rich? It's like, God, why does everyone need to be rich all the time? What's the problem? Like, what's the problem with just earning a good living, getting by? Like, we're all obsessed with being rich and having the finer things, right? And I'm guilty at times. I'm no better than you, but we got to recognize that that's a huge problem, and that's what's allowing these corporations to have these powers over us, and that's what's allowing these tech billionaires. Like, we're all using OpenAI and ChatGPT, and it's like, we got to get to the level of going like, fuck that, we're not doing it. Or like, I don't need to buy a new car this year. I'm going to drive this car for 15 years because Fuck that company.
Dude, you see what they're doing with the cars that are getting
the new
made after
cameras?
2027?
Hell yeah. It looks like I'm driving my car
That shit's
now
so
for a very long time.
bleak.
For people who don't know, they're putting cameras in, and the cameras are just going to be safety sensors. So like if you're nodding off, if you're not paying attention to the road, if you're looking at other things, if you're distracted, it's going to warn you, right? But we all know what that really means is I have a camera watching you now. And guess what? Eventually, it's going to be mandated that your car, you're not going to be able to get insurance unless you have a car with those features in it, right? So all the cars are going to have that shit. And then eventually, like, we're just going to be able to watch you at any time and shut down your vehicle if we don't like what you're doing or your driving habits. Or again, if we
your social credit
if we
score,
institute a
at that
social
time
credit
goes
score,
down,
yeah. Vinny's in the car. We're gonna anytime we recognize this face, the car won't start.
Uh-huh.
And people are like, "Oh, I don't know." It's like it's gonna happen because that's what these corporations want. They want the power over you. Oh, if you want to drive your car, Vinny, because you drove 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, so we had to shut it down. But if you just pay a fine of $20, we'll reactivate it for you, and that's all it's going to be. And it'll all be hidden by safety, but we know better.
Sure, the biometrics and stuff. But all it's going to take is like, someone freaking out running in their car because they're being chased, and they get in and their like heart rate's up and their pupils are dilated and they're trying to get it, but their car's not going to start because it's under the impression that they're like on a stimulant or something. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm about to get killed. What are you doing?
Or I'm having I don't know, any number of emergencies. Any number of emergencies. My kid broke their arm. I'm trying to rush to the hospital.
Yeah.
Whatever. And,
some of this futuristic stuff is just like change for the sake of change is not always innovation. Like when people are talking about like the flying cars, I'm like, that is a terrible. You see how much debris is on the roads every day? Now imagine that falling out of the sky.
Yeah. I think Paul Varghese had a joke about that. Was that him? Where he was like, you guys want flying cars? He's like, you can't even handle your blinkers, and I'm supposed to trust you with an altimeter? It was something like that. Like, and it's like, yeah, we're adding one more layer to things you already suck at. Like, no.
I'm just worried about like parts falling out of the sky, or
well,
people littering.
How many accidental 911s would you have if we all flew through the sky? We'd just be hitting buildings left and right with our cars.
Yeah, but there's like futurists out there who are like trying to do everything they can to make that a reality,
Yeah, and just luckily, okay, this is the part of the conservative movement that I like, that I think where it's like, it's okay. I think if you...
Interracial marriage.
Yeah, well, we got to stop that. What are your opinions on that? We got to stop that, right, Vinny?
Well, I got some thoughts.
By the way, I still love your bigger vocabulary joke. Always one more word or whatever.
It's a true story.
Go watch Vinny live. It's a great joke. But shoot, what were we talking? Oh, conservatives. I do love, okay, this is a thing where it was a liberal view and now it's a conservative view. Like wanting clean food, like growing your own food. That was like a hippy dippy liberal, like California, like, yeah, we're in a cult and we grow our own food, and now that's a very conservative.
The pandemic exacerbated that. Really was a catalyst in that change, because all those like nature people who are like, hippy dippy, and now all of a sudden the vaccine's coming and they're like, don't put that in my body.
There you go.
Now they're aligning with these people. They haven't changed a single view, but their political identity has shifted. They say it only takes like 20 years for a liberal to become a conservative without changing a single view.
I guess that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But I do think that liberals and conservatives, it's just mostly a conservative thing right now, are moving towards like, I want unprocessed, unmolested food by corporations, and how do we grow this? Like more people are wanting to have like...
You think that's a conservative view?
I think more conservatives right now,
they're like doing everything they can to like do deregulations.
Let's say conservative voter maybe. Yeah, I mean, like,
which is like the ultimate paradox, and like they're thinking that's like it only takes like one follow-up question for their logic to break down. It's like, yeah, you care about making America healthy again. You're voting for somebody who's like okay with putting like more lead in water and like more pesticides in food and deregulations on like farming industry standards and stuff. It's just like,
so like I view a guy like,
this is not healthy.
I view a guy like RFK the way I view a guy like Bernie, whereas like I hated that Bernie was part of that version. Like I didn't care for Hillary. I felt like Hillary was really like war hawkish, I didn't, and I liked that he was focusing on healthcare, Citizens United, and college education, right? Those were his big pushes. And I felt like the Democratic Party at that time, nobody was talking about that. And those were issues where I'm like, hell yeah, why aren't people talking about this, And so RFK, I feel the same way where like, I like that he's talking about these issues. I hate that it's through the Trump administration.
Yeah, then he just sold out.
Well, I think he sold out because the Democratic Party wouldn't take it, you know? And it's like, that's how I felt like if Bernie...
he sold out because everybody has a price.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Bernie, like I would have called Bernie a sellout if he had become the VP for Hillary.
Yeah.
But I would have rather had Bernie there than not there at all.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I kind of view it in that. Like I would have been like, ugh.
But he's one heartbeat away from it, yeah.
So yeah, to your point, it's like
But at least have the courage of your convictions, you know? Like the people who are like, like the Ted Cruzes of the world that are just so like anti-Trump, and now they're just like sloppiest blowjob of the year award, you know? It's just crazy because they don't have the courage of the convictions, and it's like I don't get down with that.
I think that's why you and I would never ever be successful in politics, right, or any kind of like bureaucracies, because you gotta. A guy like RFK, I think, is intelligent enough to know, like, if I'm going to get my few little things done, unfortunately, I'm playing this game, and that's bullshit, and you shouldn't have to, right? Because, you know, some of the stuff, like, I think it is good that we're reevaluating, like, the food pyramid and those things, right? But to your point, I don't like that I think it was Trump's first term, they made it legal for several of these farms and, factories that produce things to now dump stuff back in rivers. And it's like, whoa, I thought we were trying to go back to clean water, you know? And it's like, now we can pollute again.
Why would you think that? Yeah.
I know. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's
even the word conservative, like they don't want to do any conservationist at all. Like
but it used to be,
all these
right?
guys are like hunters and fishermen, and they're totally fine with their waters getting polluted by the corporation. Yeah. They're totally fine with deforestation happening. As long as the guy's wearing the right color tie, they're fine with it.
I think that's the way to the fastest common ground is, I think, finding out how to make I think Democrats messed up by pushing the green thing so hard, which I want. I want clean energy. I want clean land. I want clean water.
I mean, even Elon, he talked about like it's a tautology. If you don't have sustainable energy, then by definition, you have unsustainable energy.
Yes.
It won't sustain.
So that's where I wonder about the shame thing, right? Because then they vilified anyone who wasn't willing to drive like an electric car or something, to where they're just like, now they're so anti-green, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think all of it's marketing, right? Like Bernie never should have said everything was free. They were trying to get the young vote with free. I think he should have, in hindsight, it's easy to judge, right? If he had been able to lean into more of like, he was explaining how this was all going to be paid for, but it was never in like the soundbite forms very well, right? It was, and I think that's where he lost like those swing voters or the Republicans who didn't want to vote for Trump who might have voted for him, right? Regardless of the Democratic Party not embracing him. I think that's what's got to happen with food and land, water, air right now. It's like, we're not trying to clean all this up for some big green movement for these corporations who all just want to put a green leaf and a lowercase I on something. We're doing it because we all want to breathe clean air. We want to eat clean food. We want to have beautiful spaces that we can go experience, you know? And you've got to have a middle ground, right? So like, we're probably never going to get rid of, and you shouldn't get rid of, in my opinion, like, I don't ever want to only be on solar. I don't ever want to only be on wind. I don't want to only be on coal or nuclear or whatever. But you should have the cleanest thing you have while still having some of these other things as backups for if things fail, right? Because if you have, even if 50% of your cars are electric cars and motorcycles, right? Then it doesn't matter if you take your gas-powered motorcycle out on the road. We've cut down so much on the air pollution from the people who want to be that way, that it now allows the enthusiasts to like, yeah, dude, you can have your V8. The air's never been cleaner. You know, like you can definitely do that. We don't even need the regulations on, like smog and stuff like that, because we've got it under control so much that the weekend drive isn't going to affect anything.
Yeah.
And I think finding like that common sense middle ground of like, no, we want to clean it all up so that you can still enjoy the things you want to enjoy. But that doesn't mean we're going to just like, oh yeah, we're going to go back to leaded gasoline. You know, like it's like we got to keep it common sense. I think food and environment are going to be the only thing that we can agree on, where it's like, yeah, these corporations are poisoning our food. We got to get it under control.
Well, they agree on so much more. Like the Citizens United thing, I feel like that's most people agree that they want less money. I mean, like
except
the
for
common
the people,
voter.
except for the donors. And those are the ones
but
controlling.
it's other people who just continue to vote against their interests like all the time. Like even like the slogan of like making America great again. It's like I would like that too. Like but like do you understand? Like what facet are you talking about? Are you talking about like before Bush took the assault rifle bans out and now the AR-15s are just crazy accessible for everybody and you see a spike in mass shootings? Is that the America you're talking about that used to be great? Are you talking about it before Nixon got out of the media fairness doctrine, which paved the way for like CNN and Fox News? Instead of like one station having to say both sides, now you can have like a station just totally politicized, paving the way for Alex Joneses of the world and all that stuff. Are you talking about the America before Ronald Reagan came and it's like all these things happened. The America that they're thinking about was before Republicans bought and sold the country to the highest bidder.
Well, I think
so, but then they just continue to you're either in on the grift or you're being grifted. You're either stupid or evil.
I think
either you don't know the consequences of your choices and how you're voting and how this plays out, and stupid, or you do and you don't care, and that's evil.
I think most people, the average person, just like I was making fun of
the Reagan I was thinking was the corporate tax rate is what I was going to say. America was great, but they talking about in the 60s, the corporate tax rate was 70% or something.
No, it's marketing because right now there's a ton of frustrated people who feel like it's hard to get a good job or career, and then when they do, it's like we're well employed, we're fine, but we still think of man, we'd love to have a slightly bigger home for our family, and it's boy, homes are super expensive now, and we're gainfully employed. This shouldn't be a difficult decision for us. And then we love the neighborhood we live in. And it's man, the taxes are going up again. And it's I think a lot of people share those frustrations in a lot of different ways.
That's a branding thing too, because whenever you work out the math, because they lure you into Texas with no state
sales
income
tax,
tax.
right?
No state income tax. But where they get you is that property tax. Because when you adjust it with owning a home in California, even though they have a state income tax, it's actually cheaper.
Right. And so I think what's happening is we're all frustrated and we're all victims to marketing because we've all got so much shit going on, right? Because I'm guilty. With our 2 kids now, it's keeping up with a lot of current events and things that are going on. It's it's impossible some days, And so I'm somebody who's in a situation where I think we're situated well in the middle class and we just don't have the problems that a lot of people have. We're fortunate in that sense. And if you're a person who has those problems, you're working, you're grinding, liberal, Democrat, the way I was making fun of liberals for focusing on the social identity issues and stuff too much, conservatives are also getting tricked by that same marketing on their end about all this stuff is ruining your life. Not us, all this stuff. And if we get rid of that stuff, we're going to make America great again, right? And that's the marketing that's working. It's I think there should be, common sense immigration, right? I agree with that part of a conservative, but they get them so riled up where they're that's the reason all your shit's fucked is these immigrants. And it's whoa. We got to get a handle on appropriate immigration because that's just smart for any country.
But they can't even agree on the messaging on that because they're the reason home prices are so expensive now is because of the immigration crisis. Now they get all the immigrants out and the homes are still. I thought you told me that
exactly. And so we're all being grifted in a lot of different ways. And the person, in my opinion, doing the grift is corporate greed. Anything we can do to keep you spending money and even more of it. And right now they get the politicians doing their bidding because the politicians got to get the donations from them. And if a couple of it's got to be somebody who's just a once-in-a-lifetime candidate can come out and just buck the system and just go, I'm going fully independent. We're going only donations from people, and here's my shit we're going to do. But it's got to be just a brazen...
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're not going to like hearing this. It's got to be somebody that has Donald Trump tendencies.
I like Trump.
That's aligned, but that's just aligned with a more common sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's got to be somebody who's I don't give a fuck.
That was kind of the 10 years ago when he came in. I was like, man, the Republicans or Democrats didn't win. It was Trump who won. Definitely wasn't the Republicans who won.
He changed the system.
But I thought this could be if he burns it all down, then the next person who comes up can help. It's we had to live through Hoover to get to FDR.
Okay, yeah.
You know, there was a Great Depression. Like there was Hoovervilles. Like it was bad. You know.
Yeah.
But that was necessary to have that next president who was just like, oh, this is a mess. But now I've got all these, you know, powers now that are anointed to me. Let's do everything we can to, you know, build the great society, as he called it. And it's just like, yeah, I think because of just like him, just like, you know, taking a machete to like norms and decorum and like what a president can do, what executive orders can do. The next guy who comes in, like, he has a golden opportunity to really reshape this country, like, in a really, really positive way.
I do think like one of the benefits of having this whole,
like, if there's no Department of Education, then when you rebuild it, you can rebuild it for a future. Like, you know, not like,
I think that's the part that's hard to swallow too, right? Is like getting rid of the Department of Education. It's like, man, I want an educated society. I get pretty riled up about that, right? And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck?
Sure, but you look at the numbers where it's like America did like so good at testing, and then the Department of Education happened, and then everything all of a sudden. So it's like,
and then I look at, like, we're here in Dallas. I look at DISD, and it's like right now my son's in a very good elementary school, but then as you shift into like middle school and high school, like things can get a little less great, and they just approved a multi-billion-dollar bond package here in Dallas for DISD, like renovations and upgrades and all that. And it's like, hey, man, that all sounds great. But do I trust you to spend all that money the right way? Like, how much of this is going to be
in a football
fraud?
stadium?
Yeah. Like, how much of this is not going to go to the things we want it to go to? And is it going to teacher raises? Like, are we getting the best educators? Are we getting the best safety measures for our kids? All these things. Or is it all kind of a ruse? You know? And so that's how it is with Trump. It's like, you know, when I first hear about getting rid of the Department of Education, I think like, ooh, this is like the worst thing for society. But then I do start thinking like, yeah, but doesn't American education need to get like substantially better?
Yeah.
Like, don't we need to improve?
Exactly,
So like, to your point, like maybe burning it down a little, you know, but everything's so team oriented that if you try to have that conversation with somebody who just hates Trump, they can't even fathom that maybe it needed to be done.
And it is like a team thing because it's like, man, you bought the hat, you got the tattoo, like that's your team. Like if you find out that, you know, the owner of you, if you find out like Jerry Jones is like a pedophile, are you suddenly gonna stop cheering for the Cowboys?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
You know, it's not gonna change. So it's like it's so much is like a team sports thing and like a zero sum thing where a lot of people are like, I can't win without you losing.
Right.
And it's like, no, we both can win.
Yeah.
Like I saw a great cartoon yesterday. It was two people. It was like a line of people at two booths, and one of the booth it was like, if over 50% of these people vote for this, everybody gets or it prevents the flood from happening. The second booth was, if over 50% of people vote for this, everybody gets a life vest for the flood. And the lines are packed. Like there's like 8 people in one and like 8 people in the other. And it's like you would rather vote for getting a life vest for yourself to stop a flood that you could prevent it from happening in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, it really, really is discouraging sometimes to just think about just the tribalism that just gets I don't know. People just get like entrenched in their own.
But we know now that these people, these corporations, through different side channels, different bullshit, it's not them, right? They don't do that. I can't get on here and say like, you know, Coca-Cola did this. But we're all smart enough now to realize they remove themselves enough from whatever thing that an accusation could never, ever be made. But they are programming all of us to argue about this bullshit all the time, to just stay distracted enough that they can keep stealing all of our data, to market bullshit to us, and just all they want to do is get as much money from us as they can. And they're just treating, you know, not even just American citizens, but world citizens like you're just a product. You're just a consumer. And that's what's got to change. Like you got to somehow we got to figure out, like you said, I canceled all my shit because I didn't like what they were doing to the movies. It's like the reality is we probably all need to delete our social media. When these corporations are doing bullshit, don't shop from them. Figure out how to deal with less until that system's burned down, right? Like maybe we should be buying fewer things as often because we don't need them, right? It's like you can go thrifting and get a lot of clothes and stuff if you need to. It's like nobody really wants to, but You could, and then the system would get, like, because we're a capitalist society, shit would have to change or they're going out of business, you know, and it's just a fact. I mean, there have been a few boycotts. I don't think boycotts usually work, but it's like every now and then one works. But you're going to have to come together as like conservative and Democrat to go like, hey, we're sick of this and we're not buying any more until that changes. And that's why they want to keep us tribal, because we're not doing that, right? That's the oldest divide and conquer.
That's
right?
almost the beautiful thing of the founding fathers kind of knew whenever they wrote this in the first place, is that like these people will have so much freedom that it's like we have the freedom to not buy anything. Like we could really change it all, but like no, but it's like, remember like in high school when you'd have like a test and there would be like a curve and if everybody got like a 90, then the teacher would give everybody 10 extra points. Mm-hmm. So whoever got that 90 ended up getting 100. And inevitably you're like, okay, if we all work together and fail this, if we all get a 0, then we'll all get 100.
Yeah.
But there's always like one kid that's like, no, I'm going to do everything I can to get 100. Mm-hmm. And he ruins it for everybody.
Okay. But devil's advocate, right? Shouldn't we be trying? Yeah, like we don't want to just not, you know, like you should try to do as well as you can on the test, right?
You can, well, that's a bad analogy because the effort is like, the effort is not what needs to be studied there. The what needs to be studied is the ability to have a community to like prop the whole for all the boats. What is the phrase?
A rising tide.
Rising tide. We could raise everybody's ship.
Yeah.
But the one guy's like, no. I'm just worried about my ship. Mm-hmm. I don't care about anybody else's ship.
Yeah, and I mean, but
it's like we all literally could be.
But that's human nature, right? Like you're never going to get them all on board. It's just going to have to be incremental progress on
and just that word of like freedom. Like people are like, oh man, it's like, what, you don't think they have freedom in Germany? You don't think they have freedom in like Switzerland? You think this is the only place that has freedom? You could argue that some of those places, like with healthcare, you actually have more freedom because now you could be like, you know what? I kind of want to go skateboarding. I've never been skateboarding. I'm like a 25-year-old guy. Maybe I'll go try skateboarding and see what that's like. And then you get hurt. But now you're okay, so you can go to the doctor. But you had the freedom to actually try that. Whereas here, you know how many people like don't do activities because they don't want to get hurt, because they don't want to have to go to the doctor because they don't have health insurance?
100%.
But it's more free here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like,
but again, right? What's happening in healthcare? You know, you've got insurance companies who shouldn't even be involved in all of this, right? All of the profits from insurance companies, if you just said you're not allowed to make profit anymore, we're going to trim insurance companies as lean as we can, because there, you know, the good stuff with an insurance company is you don't want some doctor out there just operating on as many people as possible to make maximum profit when they don't need it, right? So it is good to have a little checks and balance to be like, does this need to be approved? But then the problem is they deny all this shit, and it's not a medical doctor on the insurance side denying it. It's somebody who just knows how to like code these things or whatever. And so it's like this, we lose trust in the system, right? You run that shit as lean as possible, where all you're doing is making sure that whatever this is being billed for is valid, right? And then there is no profit, right? Maybe we put a little aside for a rainy day, but what do you need profit in an insurance company for? It's just going to shareholders, and it's just going to bloated administration at the top, right? It's not going to your grunt workers that are doing all the coding and billing or whatever. And then the same thing with hospital systems. Like, so here in Dallas, we have Medical City Dallas, right? That's owned by a company called HCA. HCA is a publicly traded company, so all their financials are out there. So you can go look up how profitable this place is. HCA is incredibly profitable, right? And I don't know if it's a worldwide company, but it's definitely a national company. But the CEO of HCA, you know, during like the pandemic, right, when everyone's like, you know, hospitals were going on like hiring freezes because they were worried people weren't going to have surgeries in these things, and they were going to conserve all their money, and we might be spending all this money on masks and all that stuff, right? Which are, look, valid concerns. Yeah. Valid concerns, right? But then you find out like the employees' raises are frozen, those types of things. During the pandemic, at one point, they had released one of their financial things where they had made like $1 billion or something in a quarter. You know, it was like some crazy, or maybe, I'm sorry, the math might be wrong. You can go look it all up. And I think they might have had to give some of that money back because it was money that was given to them from COVID. But they ended up being like wildly profitable. and their CEO cleared something like $30 million, right? And it's like, so even the hospitals are consumed with making outrageous profits, right? And you have better hospital systems and worse hospital systems. But if you just take that much of the business out of it, where you go like, look, we got to make money because it costs money, okay? And we got to keep some money here for a rainy day because if we did have a downturn, we don't want the hospital to close. But that's just going to be in like whatever savings account or investment fund or something. It's internal with the hospital. And then outside of whatever percentage we got to put in that every year, you know, we're going to give appropriate, like the people who should be making money in hospitals, for instance, right? Physicians, definitely. And then all your ancillary staff, like your nurses, people cleaning the rooms, everybody, everything that it takes to make a hospital work, those people should be paid, right? Cafeteria workers, all the stuff. Okay, let's make sure they get good raises. Let's make sure the physicians are paid a fair high-end wage. I believe you should make more if you go to school for, 16 years or whatever you're doing, right? That you've earned that, and you're making very stressful decisions. But above that, like how many administrators do you need making several hundreds of thousands of dollars or more for healthcare? Like how crucial is that job? And if you take all those profits combined with all the insurance profits, and then we combined all our premiums that we pay into insurance already, don't we have affordable free healthcare if we just put it in a tax form? And then give we all have a golden ticket. You choose if you want to go to Methodist or Medical City or UT Southwestern or whatever. You choose where you want to go, but it's all billed through this. And then you can still use some of the capitalist ideas of like, yeah, if we have like horrible outcomes here, people are going to stop going there and your place is going to shut down. And you could blend it all, right? But
I've seen some practices, they're doing like a subscribing thing, like members. Like you can be like a member at this practice.
You can do a concierge doctor where you pay like an amount per year for a doctor that you can kind of call like 24 hours a day. There's things like that too.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hate any of it. I just think...
But sometimes you see the math on some of this stuff and you're like, oh, it would be cheaper to just buy a ticket, go to another country, have the surgery or whatever you're talking about.
And people do it.
Yeah, and then come back and like...
Yeah. Well, look, we know why we don't have free healthcare. It's because insurance companies have lobbyists and they make donations to campaigns. And that's it. We could absolutely have free healthcare in this country, and conservatives would benefit, liberals would benefit.
It is interesting seeing like the amount of like conservatives who are like waking up to the idea of like a lot of our tax money going to like Israel, for instance.
Yes.
And they're like, well, if we can give them healthcare here, how come we have healthcare in America? And it's like, dude, my point.
There you go.
It's like took you way too long to figure it out, but like
I think
and they're still like in their mind, it's still the wrong reasons why they've come to that conclusion. But it's like that's the conclusion you needed to come to in the first place.
This is why I always question the shame route, right? It's because I think you're a smart enough guy that you could convert way more people opposite of shame, where you're approachable enough, you're intelligent enough that like you could have that conversation with that conservative where in your mind you're thinking like, fucking, you're an idiot, you're doing this wrong, blah, blah, blah. But you could get them to connect those dots, and then they'd leave going, I met this comedy feller who, we talked about the money and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think he's right about healthcare. Like, you know what I mean? And like, I think you have the ability to...
I try to infuse that in my act.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I think that's the only way is like, they're trying to make us all enemies to each other. Stop doing that and then start coming together and going, yeah, so-and-so, who were we talking about? Who's the comic that's moving back to San Francisco? Brett. Yeah, it's like Brett's a great example, right? It's like she's been in San Francisco, she's been in Oklahoma. It's the culture shock of both. It's like, how do you get the Oklahoma person to see the San Francisco's view on that one thing and vice versa, to where they're both going like, yeah, I think I want clean food and health care, and I think we need like home prices to go down and wages to go up, and forget the political identity. Just come together on like, yeah, American citizens need to start benefiting from like all the shit we have to go through in terms of like, tax dollars, food being corrupted, healthcare not being. It's like we're going to start changing that now. And I wholeheartedly believe it's just corporate greed ruining it all. Like
for sure. But do we still need one side is vehemently more in favor of voting to continue to keep corporate greed from ruining, and then the other one is like 50-50 on should we keep letting corporate greed.
I think if Democrats would back off of social issues more, they could convert more Republicans to not vote against those corporate interests that you're talking about. I think that's where the divide is, right? I think Democrats know we can get you riled up about more social things, right? Because they're still getting the donations from the big banks and all these. You know, they're just as guilty. Like one side's getting these corporations, the other side's getting these corporations, and I think that's what pisses off conservatives. Like they want to paint you as this redneck yokel idiot, right? And so then that makes them go, well, fuck you, you know. And it's just this constant back and forth. And it's like somebody's got to swallow their pride. Both sides should swallow their pride and just be like, again, 90s liberal. It's like just going like, yeah, you know, I don't agree with all that, but they're pretty chill. They've been a good neighbor. You know, we stay out of each other's way in terms of this stuff. And then we kind of came together on these things. Because like you're never going to see eye to eye 100%, right? You're always going to have a disagreement about something. But like don't let that little disagreement keep you so angry at that person that the third party keeps getting to fuck you over all the time. Mm-hmm. You know?
Oh, yeah.
That's our biggest problem. But I think if Democrats would chill a little on the social issues and Republicans would chill on like, I mean, really, what they're doing, they're pushing back.
Literally every issue.
They're pushing back so hard against the social issues, you know, that I'll give you like, what's a good example? There's got to be a better solution for, I always get mixed up. A man transitioning to a woman as a trans male or female, trans female.
They've turned into a female.
Okay. We're going to have to find a better solution for transgendered females in female sports, because it's clearly just a weird phenomenon where like a lot of time, like you don't see the same thing. Like you don't see trans males being highly competitive in male sports. So there is a unique thing there that has to be rationally addressed somehow, but we're both addressing it very irrationally, right? Like one side is just saying like, absolutely, that is this person, you can't question it and blah, blah, blah. And then the other side's like, there is never, ever a reason this would ever be allowed. And it's like, okay, guys, this is such a weird, nuanced thing that we're all trying to figure out.
It affects so few people. Like I saw the numbers.
But you got to find a
if
solution.
you're in a room with like 500 people, 400 of them don't have health insurance.
Yeah.
150 of them like know somebody that was killed by a gun over the last 10 years or something. Mm-hmm. You know, like the numbers are crazy, and then one of them is trans.
Well, that's one too many. No, I'm just
exactly.
I'm just
but that's how they vote, though. That's how they vote. There's all these other issues that affect all these other people, but one of them is trans.
Yeah.
And it's like there's like as many people with red hair as there are like trans people in the world. Like it's like
yeah. Well,
it's like a small, very small percentage. And how many of those are trying to play sports?
But what I'm saying is, it's been turned into the hot button issue, right? So now it's not going away. But so you just need to find a
I think because Democrats took the bait, like Republicans baited them with them, and Democrats took it of like, oh yeah, they're going to be anti this. Well, then we're gonna be pro that.
See, and that's why I got turned off of. As much as I like them, I think it's hilarious. I think I like Jordan Klepper, but like those types of things, that's why I think they end up being negative. I think it's baiting both sides and just getting you riled up about. You know, because it's like, look, man, there's always going to be that crazy person that says some wild shit, right? Like you're in in comedy, it's like, how many times do you bump into a comic that's, you know, just saying some crazy shit and you're like, yeah, well, you know, they just, every now and then they say some wild stuff. And it doesn't, you know, and I think we all got to remember, it's like, God, you know, I grew up in a small town and it's like some of the characters you had out there who just had like wild ideas, but you didn't give it a lot of thought. You didn't enable that to go even crazier, right? And I think that's what we're doing on all sides now. It's like, I'm trying to own you. You're trying to own me. I'm trying to show that you're an idiot while you're doing the same to me. And it's just bicker. But
yeah, but
I don't know.
But one of these sides is clearly
maybe
like the idea that like the one that just wants free lunches for kids, and like the one that's like trying to exterminate like Muslims from their community is they're like those are, I guess, you know, butting heads of like the same coin, but like
Well, but like, okay. You know, like one of the Democrat things that's just weird to me, right? It's like, you know, this is hard to say this without sounding like you're a white supremacist.
It's a good qualifier. Great qualifier.
I'm happy. America's a melting pot, and I'm happy with everybody living here. Okay, that's the power of America in its best sense. It's like I want the best of everything that we can get from cultures and people and blah blah blah. But it is lame, like on the Democratic side. Like one of the things I've noticed now is being like a 40-year-old white male. It's like people who don't know me. It's like I'm automatically the enemy on a lot of things, and it's like, whoa, we've never even interacted. Why am I the problem here? You know, and that's one of the things like a more very progressive liberal group has pushed. It's like if it's like when Trump won this most recent election, I didn't vote for Trump, you know, and one of my family members was like, straight white males don't get to have an opinion on this election right now. And it's like, whoa, what the hell is that about? What are you talking about? Like not only is that like racist and sexist and all this stuff, it's like, I'm your family member, you know, because I was telling them, I was like, you know, the reason the Democrats lost this is like blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you don't get to have an opinion. Like I was somehow the cause of this, you know? And I think there's a lot of Democrats that push that out there. So then that makes, you know, if I were ultra conservative, that would make me be like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. You know, I know that that's just dumb rhetoric by a small percentage of, you know, very progressive Democratic voters. But, you know, it's like the internet's out there. That shit's loud and people believe that way.
Yeah, but so many of that shit is like bots, though. Have you seen that?
I know. But what I'm saying is dumb people.
They say like out of like Twitter, 80% of all the tweets come from like 5% of all Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
And like, how many of those are just like, have you seen those like bot farms in like China where it's just
but we know, right? The
manufacturing outrage.
The dumb people on both sides believe those bots. And then that becomes a narrative. Right. So there are people out there right now who would look at me like 40-year-old straight white male and they'd be like, that is the reason shit's fucked up right now. You know, and it's not really going to bother me on a deep level, but it, you know, as those people progress into the real world, right? It's like if you have a person like that who all of a sudden starts working in a HR department and is in charge of hiring people, it's like now we're getting that's also a problem. Just like if you had someone who was like, I don't think we need any black people here. That would be a horrific problem too, you know? And that would be the fault, I think, on that side is they want to do the right thing. They want to include everyone. And somewhere on the ultra progressive side, it's turned into like, not we want to support everyone, like old school liberal. Like it's, no. These people can't be supported so long as this person exists. And it's like, well, that's kind of, I think we went a little too far. Let's reel that back in, you know? And I think that's where they lose a lot of really conservative voters, and then that's why those conservative voters will fall for the grift, deny that some of these things are happening, and keep voting that way because they're like, well, I'm not going to vote for the thing that says I'm a problem, you know? And now it's pride, ego, all those things, and it's a lose-lose. And I don't know, man. With social media, I don't know that we're going to fix that because those bots and the loud, crazy people just take up so much space on social media. And then the algorithms feed you the negative to keep you interacting, right? Because it's like watching a car crash. It's like, even though that pisses me off, we're still scrolling. I'm getting more and more and more. And, you know, how do you fix that? Are we all just going to delete the apps? We're just going to just get rid of everything?
Well, there's the dead internet theory. You know about the dead internet theory is the idea that like everybody like is off the internet because
it's just bots.
All the bots are engaging with themselves and like, so yeah. And I think the generation that your like kids are in are gonna like grow up in an era that like, because some of these kids like if you're like a Gen Z kid, you kind of grew up watching your mom do like cringe TikTok dances.
Yes,
and you're like, I don't want. This is like you're an adult, like, but you're like immediately in these same spaces with these adults. Like when we were kids, you kind of saw adults differently.
Yeah, adults weren't on MySpace when we were doing that
exactly.
stuff,
But now, like, since they are, like, and then you're on these websites with them, they see how you're behaving and you're behaving just like a kid. They lose all respect for, like, the older generation, as they should, because they're acting like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, that trickles down to where like kids. What is Gen Alpha? Would that be Gen Alpha?
I don't even know.
Your kid would be Gen Alpha?
I got to figure it out.
I would think that those kids are going to turn their back to like social media a little more. One can hope.
Part of me hopes.
Even talking to like our intern, like he's like a 19-year-old like Gen Z kid, like a good-looking, spry. He's what you would think of as a Gen Z kid. You know, he's got the look, and he's not like online like that. He likes to be.
Yeah, my theory is that it's going to die with millennials.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I'm a millennial. We were the first group to we lived without it and got it. So we know life before, and then we know life with. And I think we're the only ones who really care about it, right? It's like the boomers, they're all getting on it now, but they're dying out. And
they're not, and that's kind of the problem too with like home prices.
But
and
eventually,
stuff.
but eventually they will, right?
Because they're living longer now than ever.
But I think millennials, we care so much about social media because it was this new, crazy, interesting thing. We're going to connect with each other, and we saw the best part of it, right? So we're living in the glory days. Like we remember when Taco Bell used to taste better, like that kind of stuff. And we remember when Instagram was awesome, when Facebook was awesome, and it was just fun and it wasn't corrupted. And so you're always in the back of your mind feeling like, you know, you have access to those glory days of that, not realizing what you said. The younger generation is like, that shit looks terrible. That looks so, like, look how much time and effort they put into that. And they're all unhappy about it. And it's just so lame and weird, right? That, yeah, I think the subscriptions are going to go down. And then as we all die off, it'll just be like a blip in history when it's like, so they were all on like Facebook and Instagram. There'll be like classes about the rise and fall of social media, you know?
How bad it was for your brain.
Yes.
And,
yeah. I think it really will probably die with us. Something new will morph into it, but this version of it is so weird and strange because if you gave a Gen Z person now a chronological feed with no advertisements and no recommended pages or anything, they'd love that. That'd be incredible. Like if I knew, like we've followed each other on social media for how long? I don't know that I see any of your shit anymore. You know, I see some Cowabunga stuff probably, but like if Vinnie posts something or Neos posts something, maybe I see it, or maybe I see it like 6 days after it was posted or something, you know? Whereas if we knew what it was like when it's like, hey, it's Monday, I'm going to be able to see what my, 100 followers all did today, and I can just scroll through, oh, wow, that's interesting. And there was no like, if it gets a lot of likes, it takes priority. It's like, it was just in the scroll, and you could really just kind of enjoy it on your terms.
And that endless scroll ruined a lot of stuff too. I remember when
remember when it stopped.
When Reddit was like, you'd have to click page 2, you'd have to click page 3, and then they changed it where it was just like, and I was like, oh, this is not good.
I think if you went back to that, you would get more real engagement. And again, it's like recognizing that like, hey, Instagram's probably only ever going to make this much money. And that's perfect. We're going to keep it really good, keep it really cool, maybe there's some billionaire who will make the better version of that, and we get back to a more normal feel of things where you're interacting more like a human instead of a consumer. But I don't know.
It won't be from a billionaire, dude. These billionaires do not have social skills like that, where they care about the human experience.
What's your take on a guy like Ross Perot?
The oil guy.
Yeah, he tried to run for
he's the reason that you have to be polling at like 7% to be included at the debates now.
Right.
Yeah.
But I felt like that's a bold billionaire from a different time that had ideas that, in his mind, I think he genuinely felt like this would be good for the American people. I think they come along once in a while, right? Because that's the thing. That's why they did the polling, right? Is like this guy had a shot, and he was making a lot of sense to people about his.
Yeah, he split the vote from George Bush, basically, kind of what gave Clinton the election.
But his big deal was we got to get control of the national deficit, and we've got to not have is it North American trade?
NAFTA?
Yeah, because we need to keep our jobs here and not allow these corporations to ship our American jobs to other things. Uh-huh. And, it's like now that seems like those are pretty great ideas. The deficit's out of control. And it's crazy to have these products made in these countries because you didn't uplift that country. You got slave wages in another country, and that's a problem, right? And he was back then was saying he was taking out his own ad time on like public television to go over his plans and all this about, what he's going to do. I think you get billionaires like that come through. I think Mark Cuban's a guy like that. There's got to be others out there. They just, who's going to get that wild hair to change it and, get security detail and bulletproof vest and not, fear being murdered.
Yeah, I mean, that's a legitimate fear these days.
Yeah, but there's got to be a couple. I mean, they can't all be the worst people in the world.
I mean, it's going to be like Mr. Beast or something who ends up doing it.
Okay, but is he a billionaire yet?
Is he? I don't know. I mean, he might be worth it.
He's got to be close, right? Okay, that's a great example, though. He does, because, they tried to buy his channel a long time ago, and he's like, no way. Like, I'm going to make so much more money than what you're offering me, and I have the freedom to, like, do what I want,
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, who tried to buy his channel?
Estimated, I don't remember. He got offers. Estimated to be $2.6 billion.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Let's see who tried to buy him in the past. It just says various online personality. Blah, blah, blah.
Oracle.
Yeah. But anyway, point being, like, that could be a guy who's like, I decided to do an insurance company that has the lowest premiums around and it covers everything. Like, maybe he just decides, fuck it.
Man, he has an audience already, so it's like people will get the Beast insurance.
Yeah.
They get his candy bars, you know? They get,
I mean, maybe he's probably, like 30s?
If that.
Okay, yeah.
Late 20s, maybe.
Okay, but
maybe
point is,
30.
maybe as he slowly is getting more mature, right? Because in your 20s, like, I never would have thought about being, like, altruistic in my 20s if I was a billionaire, right? You're just too wild still, I think. But as he gets in his 30s, 40s, and he's got all this money, and it's like the thrill of these videos is kind of gone, and he's looking for like what bigger thrill would it be to, like, I ruined the insurance industry?
Yeah.
Like, I turned it all around. And to do it as a YouTuber would be hilarious, right?
That'd be, yeah. Maybe I stand corrected. Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
it'd
I don't
be
know.
his biggest video of the year.
I don't know that he's going to do it, but, like, how great would it be if somebody like that was just, we're reading history books. And it's like, yeah, so Mr. Beast made it so all Americans were able to have affordable.
I can see that reality.
Why not? I mean,
sure.
we're already in the reality where a reality show has won the presidency twice, and one was a comeback. He got voted out and came back. So if that can happen,
well,
Mr. Beast could team up with something and just do something incredible, right? And he's one example of a younger generation, incredibly rich person off of something like social media, right? There are those other people out there. I mean,
but even him, like, he's like not
the Paul brothers.
Yeah.
What if they were just like, yeah, we decided to figure out how to make a free college university. I mean, just because people told them they couldn't do it. They all told me I was, like, too stupid to fix healthcare, but I did. I mean, it would be crazy, and it shouldn't be those guys, but it'd be pretty awesome. You go to the hospital, and it's just, murals of Jake and Logan Paul, but you're getting your knee replacement for free.
But these people have the ability to do things on a smaller scale like that now and don't.
Right now,
they don't.
Right now, they're young and immature.
Yeah.
Because even we were talking about the Rockefellers, right? It's like they were doing horrible things, in the beginning but then it's like they got older, and I don't know if you get regret or if it's just about building your legacy, and then they start doing more philanthropic things, right? So maybe there's hope. It's like, I don't know that you can say they did it all for the right reasons, but it still got done, which,
That's true. And I can separate the art from the artist.
Sure.
I have no problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we've solved enough world problems. It's getting late. I got to get home. For me, it is. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But, aside from all the politics, if you hung with us this long, go to Cowabunga. Go watch Vinnie perform. Go watch Neos perform. A bunch of good comics. And it sounds like you've got some fun stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah, last Wednesday's at the Fillmore Pub, Cowabunga Comedy, downtown Plano.
Mm-hmm.
And, follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Vinnie and the Jokes.
And then let's pray for the data recovery to have some kind of miraculous thing, and we get to see Vinnie Corrales at the Improv.
All right, I'm done.
Thanks, man.
The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.